Hello, friends. Welcome to the Drive Fitness Program. This is your host, Tom Driver. Before we get started, I have a small announcement. I have completely updated our website. So if you visit drivefitness.app, you'll notice that I've completely updated all the pages, including the team page. I have included a link to a lot of new podcast playlists and music playlists and books that I've read and ones that I've reviewed on the show. So if you liked one of the books that I reviewed, you can go find the link to that on our website under the team page. I just want to kind of promote anything that I've been talking about on the show to, giving credit where credit's due. And there's even a embedded tutorial in the website itself. I almost made like a YouTube tutorial, and then I was like, screw it, I can just put like an audio tutorial on each website page. So in each website page, you'll find like an introduction and just like a rundown of what's going on that page. I updated it with a bunch of new content about our app too, which you can download right now on the Apple app and the Google Play Store. If you end up using the app, please reach out to me to give me some feedback. Last thing is you can find full episodes of the podcast on our Patreon page. So check us out at patreon.com/drivefitness. Today's guest is none other than my good friend, Dan Irwin, aka M0TTA. Dan was actually the first guest on the podcast, so this was a super big deal having him back on. And just to give you guys an idea of how far we've come, the first episode with Dan was less than 20 minutes long. It was like 18 minutes or something like that. Now, me and Dan just did a 3-hour-long podcast. So I've gotten a lot better at this. Dan's gotten a lot better with his YouTube content and just public speaking. So this was a pretty big milestone for both of us. We talk about everything from his YouTube channel to his fitness life to his dreams and aspirations and how much he's evolved as a person. Me and Dan have also moved to Florida, both of us, since the last time that we met. So our first episode was in Northern Virginia, and now we just filmed the first ever in-person Florida episode. So this was a huge deal. It's just as far as using the new Florida studio and, starting off on a strong foot here, in the new state that we both reside in. Since this was a big deal, I was kind of pushing my skills, as a podcast host, and I didn't edit this one as much as usual, and I pushed it for 3 hours long. So, if you don't feel like watching the whole thing, I would definitely suggest just sticking around for the first hour, maybe hour 20, because, we really pushed ourselves to have some great conversations up front. I kind of was aware that not everyone was going to hang out the whole time. And then as the podcast goes on, we get more casual. So, I think that you guys should stick through the first hour at least. If you guys don't want to listen to a 3-hour podcast, I understand. Make sure to follow Dan's YouTube account, which is M0TTA, spelled with a 0. So M0TTA. Follow M0TTA on YouTube. And of course, thank you, Frank, for making us this intro beat. All right, enjoy the episode, guys.
We back.
We are back, man.
Almost a full year.
I know, round 2 with Dan Irwin.
Isn't that crazy? It's been almost a full year since the last podcast, since the second episode.
I know, man. It's like come full. I can't even talk to you. I'm excited. Ooh, it's come full circle, right? Yeah, it's like, I feel like I've gotten better and better with each episode, and I've finally gotten to I've gotten to a place where I'm good at this, and then boom, now you're back. We're here, and we're
in Florida.
And we're in Florida, dude.
Just crazy.
Man, we have so much to talk about. So, guys, for those of you at home, Dan and I, we haven't really caught up in like 4 or 5 months. He was like, hey, we should wait until we're on the podcast to catch up. And then we kept pushing back the date. So we haven't, Dan and I usually text a lot and call a lot. And like, we haven't even talked to each other. And I don't know, man. It's been like 5 months since we said.
When was the last time we hung out before you moved down? Wasn't it like August? Or maybe September? Or did you move down in September?
I moved down on my birthday, September 20th. So
I think it was like 2 or 3 weeks before.
Yeah, but also I feel like you came over with a bunch of other people. Like Blake and Charlie. And,
Oh yeah, okay, it was that
yeah.
time.
So I think it was like 8 people over at
And
my
we
house.
didn't really get to talk that much.
Yeah, or we did, but in the
but
in a
like
way,
not like
yeah. So and then like a month after I moved to Florida, you were like, "Yo, I'm moving to Florida."
Yeah, because it happened pretty quick for me. Like it was because I moved down the 3rd week of October, so it was like a full month after you moved down, and then we've just been waiting this whole time to actually get together and do this. So
yeah, man,
crazy.
why'd you decide to move?
Just jumping right to it. Fuck.
Well,
So
I
mean, no, I mean, like I've always wanted to, and I spent 2 summers down here, 2016 and 2017 with my aunt, and I've always loved it here, and my goal is to live at the beach, and since I have family at the beach, it just made sense to just do it. You know what I mean? Like, because life is just better in like every aspect when you're somewhere you actually like to be every day. Because like up in Nova, or I was in Culpeper for 2 years, but it's just like I didn't enjoy like hardly any aspect of it because it was so familiar and just really boring. Whereas when I'm at the beach, like there's that there all the time, and I can just go whenever I want to. And it's just it takes a huge weight off your shoulders. Like if you have a hard day at work, you can just go to the beach and like everything's just good. You know what I mean? Like, so that was always my goal. And obviously the weather is nice, the girls, the vibes, palm trees. Like, I don't know. I just feel like I'm made for the beach. So that was the main thing for me. Yeah.
You're made for the beach, dude. Me too. Yeah. I feel like Culpeper was even less exciting than Nova, right? So you were just kind of like on the outside.
It was like a downgrade. Yeah.
Yeah. And
like I always went up to Nova, but like just being in Culpeper just like really brought me down. Just it was just not for me.
And then I love the Nova life. Well, I don't love the Nova life, but I think Nova's a great place to live. But I do agree with you. It's that same thing that we did it in high school. It's kind of like we already did this already, you know?
Right. Time for the next phase.
You can go to bars and stuff, but I don't know, man. At this age, it's not as fun to drink anymore either. So Nova kind of, it just, I don't know. I would not have enjoyed doing that for another 30, 40 years, you know? So
yeah. It just seems like outside of the boys being there, there's no like appeal. Because it's cold. I mean, like we've been through it, like you just said, but the boys are there. But outside of that, there's no like attraction or no like,
but
like
Dan,
natural thing.
Now the boys are here.
Exactly. Now we need to get the boys to migrate here.
Yeah, well, now we need to get all the boys to come here, dude.
Like, I've been trying to actually. Like, I'm trying to get Max, Charlie.
I feel like eventually Charlie will do it.
Because, like, his mom's here already, so I feel like... And I think his girl wants to come here also.
He's comfortable with the area.
Yeah, and he actually said Tampa.
Really?
He said he was thinking about Tampa.
Tampa, I don't think is the dopest city. I live, like, on the outskirts of Tampa. I don't know. I'm not hating on Tampa, but I actually don't even know enough about it to recommend it or not.
We're gonna find out tomorrow.
But I do like the West Coast vibes. It's more low key on the West Coast of Florida, not obviously the country. But I like it over here. It's more low key. I feel like there's less tourists, you know, and it's just kind of more retirement homes and shit, which is like honestly chill. It's just like relaxing here, you know. Less partying, like that's, you know, Miami and shit. It's not like that here. But did I inspire you at all to move, or was it?
I guess that might have created urgency for me to do so, but like I've always wanted to, and that was my plan for like a year. But I guess like once you did it and once you solidified yourself down here, that was like an extra push for me to be like, okay, he did it, and like so I'm like, okay, now it's my turn. Like,
and not just me moving, but the pandemic. It's just like, damn, now's a really good time to move. Actually, you know, because we're all gonna be working from home for the year. You know, might as well go move somewhere else. Like. So many people have moved out of New York, out of LA. You know, it's just the amount of migration like going on right now around the country is just unheard of.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's insane. I mean, it's just you realize you don't need to be in a certain location to
if you can work remotely.
Yeah, and I feel like a lot of people will go back to the office, but times are gonna change. A lot of companies are going to change enough where you can find remote now from work from anywhere in the country now. So dude, man, I've had just like a running like monologue in my head about this meeting, dude, for like definitely the past couple weeks, but even longer than that, man. I don't know, man. I've thought of like so many things I want to say in this moment right now. You know, it's kind of intense. I'm like, I don't even know which one to pick.
And now it's here.
It's here, dude. I kind of want this to be like the most epic podcast of all time, dude. You know? I was texting you, I was like, bro, I want it to be like motivational, but I also want it to be chill, you know? But I also really want it to be funny, you know?
But the thing is, you just have to let it flow naturally and just like see where it ends up. You can't really like go into it with a preconceived notion of how it should be. It's just a matter of the vibes and the energy and how it goes from there.
I know. I thought about that too, but then I also thought about like the most genuine thing for me to say would be for me to say what I wanted it to be, because that's what I've been thinking about, what I want it to be, you know?
Ooh.
Yeah.
Self-fulfilling prophecy.
Or not, or I don't know. Like, it doesn't have to be any of those things, but like, I don't see the problem with me saying the fact that I've been thinking about how I want it to be those things, you know?
Yeah, which it will.
Which, I mean, who knows? I at least want to like try my hardest here, you know? I feel like we were talking about the first podcast, right? So you were the first guest, right? The second podcast, but the first guest that wasn't Matt Dramazos, my partner. Now it's like almost a year later, we've come back to this point, and the style of the podcast has changed so much. Like, that was 20 minutes. I've been pushing like an hour and a half. Some of these have been like 2 hours, honestly. And I've been editing it less, you know, because I've been more comfortable with what I'm saying. And I kind of want this to be like another step forward where maybe I edit it even less than usual. You know, still some, but you know, I'm working towards where I can just sit down with someone for 3 hours, feel good about it,
and then just flow.
Yeah, flow with it, and then just upload it to the internet.
I feel like that way it's just a lot more authentic. You know what I mean? Like, because when it's all choppy and it's only certain parts of what you guys talked about, it just makes it kind of like you don't get a full feel of like what the conversation was about, or like what the person's vibe is like, or you know, like So I feel like just having a consistent flow throughout the whole podcast is probably the best thing, because you know, Joe Rogan, I feel like his are always like that. I don't think he ever has like cuts.
His are like that. The thing about his though are that he's got like a big celebrity on. So if a big celebrity is like stuttering or saying something weird or just talking about what they ate for breakfast, it's like kind of interesting, you know?
Because they're a celebrity.
So yeah. And so when I started off, for sure, I was like, no one likes my podcast yet because it just started. So I kind of have to earn their approval. So and I wanted to talk about certain subjects. So say I talked about nutrition in an episode, and there was like 5 minutes where we talked about what they ate for breakfast, or well, that actually would apply. But say we talked about, you know, how bad trash smells, you know, for 5 minutes. I would cut that out and be like, well, let's just make this a nutrition episode because my viewer is here for nutrition. Me and my guests aren't celebrities. They don't care about everything we say. Or if I like to stutter for a minute, I'm like, well, I just want to put a clear message out about like how to eat healthy. So I would cut it up, you know? And so I've been getting better at talking clear, right? I've been trying to remove like and. And so I'm slowly getting to the point where I don't feel like I have to edit the way I say things, you know? And a lot of my guests are starting to be repeat guests like you know? So they're more comfortable talking, and then the audience already knows them. So they, you know, people who saw your first episode and liked it, they're going to watch this one. So we don't have to worry as much about, okay, your first impression, it's more relaxed, you know?
Yeah.
And so over time, I do feel like I'm going to be on that Joe Rogan quality of I just sit down and hopefully my guests get, you know, bigger, you know, or the people who I have on as guests, they get bigger themselves, right? Like your YouTube page is getting pretty big now, or much bigger than it was the first time. Let's talk about that for a sec.
When I first came on, I think I had like 13 subscribers, I'm pretty sure.
No way, dude. Because you got over 100 now, right?
I have like 129, pretty sure. But like, I'm not really pushing it to gain a following. It just like kind of happened naturally. But it's, I mean, it is small. It's like 129.
Yeah.
But so like my videos range from EDM, like reaction videos, to self-improvement, like speeches, to like fitness stuff. So I feel like I don't have like a niche audience yet. It's kind of like all over the place. So some people are here for the EDM content, some for the self-improvement, and probably none for fitness because we only have like 5 fitness videos. But
that's fine, dude. Hey, I'm there for the fitness videos.
Yeah.
So I like those the most. I'm the same way with the podcast, right? I got like technology, like entrepreneurship, and fitness, and there's definitely got to be people out there that only like one of those categories, you know, and that's fine. Like they can just enjoy the episodes that they want to enjoy, you know. Same with your YouTube channel.
That's true. But I feel like for me, it's just more of an expression of like what I feel like putting out to the world. You know what I mean? It doesn't have to go into a certain category. It's just more like whatever I'm feeling. If I feel inspired to create X and Y message, then I'm going to do that. Like, it doesn't have to follow a guideline or, you know, like a structure. It's just like whatever I feel like the world needs to hear, or like, then I just put it out pretty much.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's where I'm going, because I feel like a lot of YouTubers that have the goal in mind to gain a following, to become like a YouTube celebrity or famous, they like grind at it and just like kind of focus on one subject matter or like a certain type of content. Whereas me, I'm just kind of doing me along the way. So
just doing you, bro.
Yes, sir.
Just letting yourself shine, man.
Trying to.
Dan is just shining out here, dude. But yeah, I remember last time we were talking about setting up those EDM reaction videos. And I feel like that's helping you grow like an organic following, because just like whenever I have a new guest on, it's like there's a lot of people that follow that guest and they're like, oh, I'll go check out the podcast that this guy is on that I like. Same with those EDM reaction videos. You react to something, and then people who are fans of that artist, you know, they check out that video just because they like that artist, and then they might discover your self-improvement videos or your fitness videos because of that.
Yeah.
You know, and that kind of helps you. I feel like that's part of the reason you're expanding into, you know, bigger audiences right now, because yeah, those videos are not going viral, but they're definitely getting like much more attention than your videos ever were.
Yeah, for sure.
And then therefore, right, like, you know, then you can actually spread that message that you're actually trying to spread too.
Yeah, but I feel like overall I'm trying to focus more on self-improvement. If anything, that's where I'm most inspired. You know what I mean? Because like the EDM reaction videos, it's more of like me taking someone else's content and making my own video out of it, like my own reaction. So that doesn't feel as authentic. But then, you know, I feel like I have certain like viewpoints towards, you know, of the world that I feel like other people need to hear. Yeah. So that's where I'm most driven. But I mean, I like making it all though. So
if you were just doing like top 40 songs or something, like the hottest song ever, the wave that everyone else is jumping in on, you know, and you weren't really enjoying that music that much, I feel like it would not be authentic, you know?
Yeah.
But I feel like you're actually just following the EDM artists that you really like, and you actually really like those artists and stuff, and you are just being authentic when you do those reaction videos.
That's true.
And then, that actually helps, you know, get the self-improvement videos more attention and all that stuff. But I don't feel like it's coming from an inauthentic place.
That's true.
And I don't think you need to feel like that, man. I mean, I do feel like it's better to get your message across, but I mean, that's sales 101, right? I mean, sometimes you have to grab people's attention to get your message across, you know, not like in like the stereotypical like clickbait way, you know, but I might take a conversation that we talk about today that is a little bit more clickbaity, right? Put that up on YouTube as a clip, and then that might bring more viewers to the full video, which I feel like has more depth to it and more content. But it doesn't mean that, you know, I'm being inauthentic by posting that clip. It's just like you got to do what you got to do to spread your message.
Exactly. You know?
As long as it like aligns with, you know, who you are. Like, it would be pretty stupid if you and me talked about like Kim Kardashian for 3 minutes, put that online, and then people come to this video and they find a bunch of like fitness, self-improvement conversations. It's like we just did that, you know what I'm saying, to spread the word.
Exactly, yeah.
But it's like if we just have a natural conversation today, and, you know, we put up the clip that we feel like is going to get the most views, there's nothing wrong or inauthentic with that, you know?
That's true.
You're still going to be listening to those EDM artists you react to no matter what. And they're dope. I like seeing like the expression on your face and shit, you know, when like a good drop comes on.
Hey,
I think that's authentic as shit, buddy.
Yeah, I mean, they're pretty fun to make. It's just like sometimes I feel bad for the artist because like I'm getting views from their content. So,
no, you're promoting them too.
But I'm not getting paid either. Like, they're not monetized videos, so it's not I mean, there's no harm done.
Yeah, no, I don't think you have to feel guilty about that. They set them up in a way that the artist gets money, you know, if you play a song on your show. So
true.
Yeah, I feel like you were saying eventually you want to make your own music, and I feel like eventually, that's a good transition, you know, to take and maybe stop doing the reaction videos, or maybe do them less often or something. But I mean, dude, there's nothing wrong, especially as a new artist. Like, a lot of times as a brand new artist, you're just mimicking your idols and your heroes, you know, until you get a feel for it. So, you know, I mean, you got to be listening to a bunch of like inspirational EDM artists right now anyways, and then you're helping them get more views, and then people are understanding your taste, you know, and then once you start making music, bro, that shit's gonna be popping, and people are gonna understand you better as a person. You know?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
Fuck yeah, man. I'm excited, dude. If you notice, I'm talking a lot because every episode I usually let my guests like talk a lot, you know, and I ask questions more, and I'm not as opinionated. But this is the first like round 2, you know, so I'm like, people should already know you. I don't need to like let you talk the whole time.
Yeah,
I can sit here and rant. Like this episode's more about me than you, if anything, buddy. I'm kidding. But
welcome to the M0TTA podcast featuring Tom Driver.
Basically, if you want to get your opinions out, you're gonna have to speak up, man, because I might just ramble on for 3 hours right now. Damn.
Oh shit! What's coming?
What is your why?
Whoa. I don't know, bro. Over the years, it's been kind of changing a lot, but I feel like the fact that we have a gift of life and we've been placed on this planet is just, I feel obligated to protect it for one, which is why I went into the field that I went into, environmental science. But in addition to that, I feel like, I mean, not necessarily the why, but I guess as a result of us being here, like we have to strive to be the best we possibly can in every facet of our life, pretty much. So I feel like, because our time is just super limited, and I feel like if we're not utilizing that to our fullest potential, it's just a waste. And that's why I'm not drinking this whole month, because I felt like I had to reset myself in order to maximize the time that I have. And it's just like every second is just, I mean, it sounds corny and like people say it all the time, but life is short. And like the older I get, I mean, I'm 25 going on 26 now, and I feel like time is just escaping me like so quickly, and like the weeks just go by faster and faster. And the more I work, the more drained I become, and like the less time I have to really explore my passions and like do all the things I want to do in life. I feel like my youth is escaping me to some degree. So I feel the utmost urgency to try to like not let that happen and just maximize who I am mentally, physically, spiritually, everything. And it's pretty hard to like live that way and live that vigorously to make sure that you become the best person you possibly can. But if you're at least on a path, and if you at least am always striving to become that person, that's what really matters. And to always like course correct if you're going off course, to put yourself back and to really realize what's important, because just being on social media, scrolling through IG or Snapchat, or just wasting your time like doing anything, watching a TV show, like it takes away time from your youth and like becoming who you want to be. And it's like, why would you be anything less? Like, why would you not be that guy that you want to see in the mirror every day and like conquer every area you want in life, pretty much? So it's like every time I have a shortcoming, I feel the need to just correct that and like not let that happen again. And you know what I mean? It's just like, I don't want to be like in 5 years, I just don't want to be the kind of person that has regrets or feels like I could have been better. And like, because now when I look back on like college or high school, I'm always thinking like, damn, like if I was just more confident, I could have attracted this girl, or I could have made the lax team, or, you know, just all these things. And I'm like, dude, like I can't waste that any longer. It's just like, now's the time. I'm going on 26. Like I don't want to be 30 and like start to do this then. I want to do it now, because now is like the time. You know what I mean? Just so.
Your only limitation is your imagination, Dan. So what is that ideal self? Like, what is that ideal person? If you have an ideal vision of who Dan is, what does that guy look like? What is he, you know, what's his career? What is his focus in life? What is, no limitations, you know, you're God or something. Not really, but you get to choose.
Self-proclaimed God.
Yeah. What is your ideal human form?
Just someone that doesn't have boundaries. You know what I mean? Like whenever I feel the urge to do something, I do it without hesitation, because like in the past, I've always been scared to talk to girls or to like go out of my comfort zone or like speak up on like a certain topic in a conversation, or just like fear of like doing things, putting myself out there, and just in a general sense not having fear to do whatever I want, talk to whoever I want.
What now? Like, let's get more specific. Like, what is it that you want to go do in life and not be fearful in, right? I mean,
I've been thinking about traveling.
Traveling?
Like, just like sending it to another country and just faring for myself for like a few months or some shit like that. Because, I mean, right now I work for the city, and it's a stable job and it's good and I do enjoy it, but I just don't want to like stay there long term and just become like a higher up in the company and just let that be my life. You know what I mean? That's just not fulfilling to hear that. So I just want to do something radical at a certain point to kind of shake me and put me in like a new environment where I'm forced to fend for myself and to just like acclimate to whatever that is. That way it would kind of spark this like self improvement within myself, and just like, you know, being in a vulnerable state, I feel like would allow me to just unleash myself. So I don't know what that is specifically right now, but I'm thinking about just, I mean, I want to stay in Florida long term, but for maybe a month or two, like just work at my job that I currently have for like a year or two more, and then just go to Brazil or like Portugal, Spain, or overseas somewhere and just live there for a little bit. For one, for what I just said, that whole reason, but also to just see the world too and have new experiences, like a sense of adventure. And I'm into photography too, and that could be a good YouTube like thing also. So I mean, there's like a lot to it, but mainly just for self growth and just like seeing what my niche is and like where I fit in and what I can really do.
So I took some time off from work this year, not by choice, but due to COVID, right? Lost my job and I got a break, you know, and it was super fucking healthy for me, you know. And I felt I moved during that time period, but I felt like I wasn't very happy in my job, and I felt like that break gave me like the room to, you know, get some healthier habits, be a healthier person, and I feel like I honestly could go back and do the same exact job and be happier. You know what I'm saying? Because I just kind of like recorrected myself. And so what I want to do moving forward is like every 4 years, take I think it's called a sabbatical, where you basically like save up some money, quit your job, and then go move somewhere for like 6 months, you know, and just take 6 months off and then go back to work, you know, or go find another job or whatever. I feel like I feel like that would be a very healthy progression in my life to like every 2 or 3 years, every 4 years, I don't know, like every a certain amount of time, take, you know, maybe every 2 years, take 3 months off, or every 4 years, take 6 months off, something like that, and just get that reset, you know.
Exactly.
And then maybe also travel, because it sounds like what you're saying, you don't want to actually go live in Brazil for the rest of your life.
No, just
or live in a random country, you know, here and there for the rest of your life. You want to have a home base in Florida.
Exactly.
But yeah, maybe that sabbatical, I think that's the right word. Maybe that's something you should think about too, right? Just saving up. I think the problem is that it's not the best for your career because you only get a certain amount of vacation days every year. So you basically have to quit your job and then go look for a new job every time you take that trip, that sabbatical. But I mean, I feel like that's worth it. If there's some setbacks in my career because I took that break that I need, like, okay, so be it. But, you know, I think if anything, it would recharge me. And if that job takes me back or I go into a new job, I will go in, you know, flying because I got that reset. I got that travel in. I got to kind of recenter myself, you know? And so I didn't choose this last break, you know, and I'm hoping that it would make me very sad if I started a job and then just worked for 30 years straight until his retirement or something.
Exactly,
after this. Like, I feel like this has opened my eyes to be like, I need breaks at least every 5 years or something, you know, like twice a decade, take a significant amount of time off, not 2 weeks, not even a month, like 3 weeks minimum or 3 months minimum of like save up that money and do it, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, it sounds super healthy.
Sounds like that's kind of aligned.
That does sound like very similar to what I'm also thinking.
Yeah.
But I mean, I need to plan it out more, obviously, and just see where my job takes me and what happens when I'm in Florida. But like you said, I want to make this my home base for sure.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like I feel like I need other experiences to really propel me.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the main thing.
Yeah. What what would you do in these other, are you thinking about like a mission trip type of thing?
Thinking
like going and maybe
kind
not
of what Jamie did, like just teach English or something.
Oh,
or
yeah.
I could potentially find a job in my field too.
So what Dan's talking about is my little brother moved to China and he taught English there for 9 months. Yeah, that was definitely a very good experience for him. He came back a different person. Like he couldn't hold a job before that, and now he has a job. So, but I think he moved up to management too, and so
True.
he's definitely doing better, a lot better, and it definitely it made him more cultured. It made him more. I think it made him appreciate what he had here more.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I think I live a pretty cool life, but I just went to college and then, I got a job and stuff. And all of a sudden my little brother got to go live in China for 9 months. Like he obviously
Crazy.
has lived a cooler life than me.
Yeah.
I've never been to China. I never really left the country. So
Yeah.
as cool as my life is, he's definitely gotten a more a more variety of experiences than me already.
Worldview.
Yeah. Different worldview. Yeah. So
that's what I want to gain. Just like there's so much to see and so many cultures to experience. I just feel like I'm in a bubble just being here.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, being out of Virginia is like really nice and I do love it here, but it's only like a small portion of what we can really experience. Like,
mm-hmm.
Throughout our country, there's a lot to experience, but outside of that, it's just endless.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to sell myself short, like there's just too much out there to just put on the table and not experience.
Yeah.
But it takes a lot of planning, a lot of saving, but it can be done. You know what I mean? Like it just feels like a waste if we don't.
Yeah. Or would you so that was one option, right? Of taking the break and going and maybe not working or maybe teaching English like you said. Or would you want to do something like environmentally, globally focused?
Yeah, like I said, the more experience I get right now, it'll set me up to potentially get a job where I'm doing that elsewhere. Yeah. You know what I mean? So that could possibly be the goal.
Yeah.
I'm sure I could definitely manage, but I'm trying to learn Spanish again right now. So
yeah.
I have an app that I'm trying to do that with. And I want to also learn Portuguese since my grandma speaks it. But
so you're thinking about somewhere in South America then?
Yeah, I just want to experience some more Spanish culture.
Yeah.
I just feel like that'd be really good for me because that's my own roots. You know what I mean? So I feel like it would just feel like home to some degree, like a second home, which would be really cool.
Yeah, man, it's difficult moving with a significant other. You both got to be on the same page. So right now, you don't have a person that's influencing your life at all. Like you moved to Florida by yourself. Like you can just pick your shit up and go to Brazil if you want to. The only person holding you back is you.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll see. It's like a big decision and it's a lot to think about. But yeah, it's going to take some time to actually kind of plan it out.
Yeah.
So,
well, you're here now, and I feel like I am happier in Florida, right? And part of me is like, I could live here the rest of my life, dude, because it's chill as fuck here. But I'm also like, okay, I did it once, I can do it again. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly,
I don't feel as stuck here,
Right?
I felt like in Nova, the possibility of me getting stuck there was very present. And, if I got the right career move, like if all of a sudden I was making like $200,000 in Nova, it'd be very hard to walk away from that.
Right, yeah.
But now that I'm out and I'm like, okay, I could go live anywhere after this, and it does really kind of make you realize that no one's forcing you to live where you live. You know what I'm saying? No one's forcing you to live this, do the things you're doing, work the job you're doing, or live in the area you're currently living in. You are free to explore this world. Hopefully if we make it to Mars, you can explore Mars too one day. But you can go anywhere on the planet, dude, as long as you want to. And as long as you put a plan into action and do it,
But the scary thing is that most people don't see it that way and don't understand that. You know what I mean? Most people get sucked into the idea that they have to work and that they have to stay in a specific area for like a long duration of time and don't really consider the possibility of moving elsewhere. Just because it costs money, it takes time, finding a new job out of state. There's a lot you have to do in order to make that happen, but most people don't don't want to put in the work to do it and just become comfortable where they're at. So
yeah, I feel like most people feel like they can move, but like a year from now, and they just tell themselves that
they keep putting it back.
Again. Yeah, they're like, all right, next year, 2 years from now, I'm finally gonna do it or whatever. And like, let me tell you guys, the time is like now. It's not next year, because next year there's gonna be that next promotion that you want, or that friend who has a birthday coming up in 6 months. Like, that was the thing about Northern Virginia. There was just, since we were there for our whole lives, there was always a birthday or always a something where I'm so obligated to do this thing. Once you're in an area for so long, it's nice to have friends, it's nice to have a network, but then you also feel all these obligations and these pressures. I guess that kind of melted away with COVID this last year. But, you're not obligated to anybody to stay where you are. You're not obligated to anybody to do anything, and you got to put a real plan into action. You can't just daydream about living somewhere else.
Right.
It won't happen.
Yeah.
What do you fear most in life?
Oh, fuck. Not becoming that person I want to be.
Not becoming that?
Yeah. Just selling myself short. I posted that one book review on a David Goggins' Can't Hurt Me, and that was like his mindset towards life, and that's kind of like had an effect on me, and that's where I'm kind of coming from now.
Yeah, I wanted to talk about that too, so I'm glad you brought it up. So you read a book by David Goggins. If you guys haven't heard of him, he has a Joe Rogan interview.
He has two, actually.
Two, yeah. And this dude was super fat, right? And he went to the Marines, and he struggled, right? He like barely made it through.
Yeah, he has a really long story.
I'm sure I'm cutting some.
Yeah,
I'm cutting some corners. But at this point, he became like a marathon runner, and he's got this whole philosophy on like toughing it out, and there's some story of him running like a huge race on like a broken foot or something, and his whole thing is like your mind is more powerful than your body, basically. Like you can overpower any fear that you have.
The 40% rule.
The 40%. Yeah, go over that.
So that states that even when you're in a state where you're highly duressed and you feel like you can't go any further, that's only 40% of what you're capable of doing. So if you're like on a 30-mile run and you just feel like you can't take another step, that's only 40% of what you can actually do. When it comes to anything physical, but also mental as well, it's just like we don't realize how much potential we actually have. You know what I mean? And we only use up so much, and there's so much left on the table that we don't access. So that's where he comes from, because he went through 3 hell weeks, and one, he had 2 broken shins. And if you know anything about hell weeks, or
broken shins.
Yeah. And throughout that whole time, he actually had a hole in his heart, and he didn't realize it until later, like 5 to 10 years later, and he had to get surgery on his heart. And then he still kept going after that. So he's had a lot of roadblocks in his life, and he just always found a way to persevere and to overcome. And it's just insane. Like, he lost 100 pounds in 3 months to qualify for the Marines or for the SEALs, and then 3 hell weeks, and then just becomes this ultra marathon runner, endurance athlete. It's just, it seems like it's impossible, but he's a living example of how anyone can do it. It's just all mental, and that's what he really hit home in the book.
And now he's just like this motivational dude who will be like, that little bitch inside you got to overpower it, okay? And he posts videos of like basically showing that he's also like a little bitch. He's like, I didn't want to put on my shoes today. I got scared. That little bitch in me was telling me not to put them on, but I overcame that, And, I think he's just trying to show everyone that like, look, I'm still scared to, like, he still has have that demons. Fear and that intimidation of whatever, running the next marathon or, doing whatever it is. So he's pretty inspiring, I think, to a lot of people. And one of my favorite podcasters is Lex Fridman, he has like a nerdy podcast. And he's been going on these runs with David Goggins. And next month they're doing, I think it's called a 4x4 by 48 or something. But you have to run 4 miles every 4 hours for 48 hours straight.
I think I've heard of that, yeah.
So,
it's insane.
You go run 4 miles, come home, rest, and then go do that again within the 4 hour mark. And so you're running 48 miles within 48 hours. That's like the end result, right? And 48 miles is a shit ton. That's like a double marathon, I think, right?
Yeah.
Sheesh. Yeah.
It's insane.
I was thinking about doing it with them. Maybe not really, but I'm actually busy. I was going to hit you up, and then I realized I was busy that weekend, and I'm like, oh, thank God, But I really like both those guys. I like Lex too, and Lex is motivational because he's like a nerdy computer programmer. So to see him get up and then do that kind of stuff, you're like, oh shit, I can do it.
Right?
Yeah, he did some sort of pull-up and push-up challenge with Goggins that like killed him. I don't know the exact numbers, but it was a stupid amount of pull-ups and push-ups every day. And I'm like, oh my goodness, dude. I don't know. Like I want to get very strong and healthy in life, but I also don't want to quite injure myself, pushing myself to the edge. I mean, I think I want to push myself to the edge in like business and other ways.
Yeah, I mean, but the thing about that book is that it can be applied to any area of your life. It doesn't have to be only fitness, because your mind controls everything, not only your body, like what you do with your mind and what you apply that to. So for you, it can be your own podcast or your YouTube channel or your whole brand, really.
Yeah.
Just to work hard at it every day.
I was talking to Kayla on the episode about bodybuilding, how bodybuilding gave her a lot of discipline in other areas of her life. And I feel like a physical pursuit is the first step of realizing that you can apply that anywhere. You know what I'm saying? Like once you like lose 10 pounds, you see that in your body and you're like, wow, or you gain a bunch of muscle, or you just run a distance or a time that you just didn't think your body could do. Once you realize your body can, do things and you pass that mental barrier, I feel like you're like, oh shit, like I can start this company, or I can create a YouTube page, or I can be
it empowers you,
a lawyer or whatever, because there's certain body limitations. I feel like it's so much more real. It's like you got to feel it, and when you do something like with your body that pushes it, to a new level, like you really feel it. You feel the change. You feel like a new person. You literally feel like a new person, after running a race like that, or hitting a bench press that was just way out of your league, you know what I'm saying, prior to that moment,
Yeah.
And so you might not want to do the 4x4x44, but I do feel like you don't have to, but it really does help to
just one way to do it.
Yeah. But it really helps to pick a physical goal, hit that goal, and then try to take that mentality and apply it elsewhere.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Instead of just being like, okay, Goggins ran 48 miles, I can do anything in life. Let me go be a lawyer or something. It's like, there is some secret to overcoming a physical barrier, you know what I'm saying? And knowing you can do anything and then applying that elsewhere,
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
So then how did that book help your life? Like what were some takeaways from it from you? What specifically did you go do? What were you motivated to change about yourself or?
I've always been into weightlifting, but this gave me the extra push to become like strong and just like not take days off and be like, and have that as my focal point, because in the past, like I would lift like 4 to 5 days a week and like kind of not go to my full extent as far as like how much, like how much I would lift a certain day, like I would be doing it, but kind of just going through the motions. Whereas now, like I'm focused every workout. I enjoy every workout. And my goal is just to become like big and strong and just like maximize my genetic potential. And so from a health standpoint, I've just been like really focused on that grind. And then also, I started running too. So I'll go on like a mile or two runs, which is like nothing compared to him, but it's still something because like I didn't run for like years. So I've been doing that, which is cool. And just like always being active. Like I just told you, I need to hit at least 10K steps a day. So after this, we have to be doing something. But, in the past, I wouldn't have been as committed to doing that. Like I wouldn't have cared if I didn't hit that many steps per day. And like now I just feel like the need to always be doing something active and always be making myself better in some way. Whereas before, like it would be cool if I did, like I would be on a grind for a week or two and then I would just have a night out, drink, and then just go back to fucking ground zero and then start over. Whereas now I'm just like focused, and that's my main goal, just to stay on that path.
Are you spreading yourself too thin at times? Like I know you're trying to do the no drinking, the steps, the lifting, the running. Have you had any issues like focusing in on certain goals? Because
I mean, I feel like the only thing in the way is work because work takes up a lot of my time. So I don't have as much time to allocate towards that as I would like, but I still find the time to do it. I just wish I had more of it.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's the only thing in the way, really.
Yeah, I feel like it's not a problem to spread yourself too thin, but something that I keep coming back to, which is something Frank told me in the first podcast I did with him. It's just like, I don't know, Frank, you're a saint, dude, because he said like, you need to have grace with yourself, you know? And so I might try to set 10 different goals like that too, or 5 or 6, right? And then if I don't hit that goal, like if you get like 8,000 steps a night, it's just like having grace and being like, it's okay. No, we can still push yourself, but you know what I'm saying? If you get that mindset of like, fuck, I didn't do it, like I can't do it, like, and then you just stop trying. Like, so like, I feel like having that grace with yourself allows you to keep pushing in all these different horizons, you know what I'm saying? And not really accepting failure in any direction, because if you're like, oh, I can't drink that much water every day, or, oh, I can't run every week, you know, like if you don't hit one of these goals, then you're not gonna keep pushing at it. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So,
but for me, if I don't hit that goal, it fuels me even more to do it next time.
Yeah, good. That's good too. But not in like a negative way though.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
It's not like, because I feel like before in the past I would dwell on it and like it would actually affect me, and then I would just be like sad or just not, you know, not in a good mental state for a few days. Whereas now I'm just like even more driven and feel that even more sense of urgency to get that shit done and do it even better next time.
Well, that's intense. So maybe I need to step up my grace game and get into the fueled up game, you know? That was definitely what I needed to hear at that time, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. But yeah, I've been getting in a healthier space. Maybe I do need to push myself like you are, you know? But either way, like the fact that you still believe, I'm talking about more of like getting down on yourself and being like, I can't do this many steps today, you know? And it seems like you are having even more than just grace, right? You are believing that you can hit it tomorrow or whatever. Like you definitely have the right attitude. And I think everyone needs a different attitude, but you definitely have one that's working for you right now, man.
I feel like that's been the best thing for me the past few months, because in the past, like high school and college, I would just always like be so hard on myself, and then I would have a hard time picking myself back up. Mm-hmm. Whereas now I just find it easy to just keep pushing. You know what I mean? That's been the main thing for me.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah, I feel like once you see some progress too, it's easier to like push at it more, you know? Because I struggled for a while just getting into shape, and like recently, or not recently, like a couple months ago, I started seeing progress. And then since then, it's like the amount I'm pushing myself is like starting to accelerate a little bit, because I'm like, oh, I'm losing some weight. You know, now I don't want to eat that ice cream, you know? Not because, you know, I'm forcing myself or I don't enjoy ice cream anymore or anything negative. It's just like, oh, I like this improvement, you know? It's reaching towards the positive, not pushing away from the negatives, I guess.
Right,
And however strong that reach is, you know, depends on where you're at in your journey. But as long as you're reaching in that direction towards something positive, you know what I'm saying? And not pushing away from your bad habits, and not, like, as long as you're like, say you don't get the steps tonight, if your mindset is like, oh, I didn't walk enough, that's bad. You know what I'm saying? It needs to be like, oh, I can't wait to walk more tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like that's a negative mindset to have on, look how little I walked today. Or let's think about how much I sat in a chair today. Like, no. You need to be thinking about how much more you're going to walk tomorrow.
Exactly.
Get excited about that and get energized about that. You know what I'm saying?
That's the difference, yeah.
Yeah. It's powerful stuff, man.
Yeah.
So what do you fear most? I feel like that was a cop-out answer, though, to say, oh, I fear not being the best version of myself. You know what I'm saying? And what do you fear, for real? Do you fear poverty? Do you fear death? Do you fear not being accepted by the people around you?
Well, that's something I'm trying to shift away from, not caring what people think. That's something that has really weighed me down in the past. But I think death, like just not knowing when it's going to happen, and kind of along the same lines as not reaching my fullest potential at that time. So if it were to happen tomorrow, like that would that would be horrible.
Yeah.
But
no, I feel like that all ties into something I wanted to go off of, because last time you were talking about how the fear of death like motivates you, right? And I was like, ooh, we could have dived like more into that and like picked that apart a little more, because it actually is that guy named Lex I've been listening to. He talks about the fear of death a lot, and he says like a lot of people, they say that they fear death, right? And they don't really like meditate on the thought that they could die at any moment. You know what I'm saying? They fear death at old age, or even like, you know, down the
Or what
road
happens
whenever they
after.
die. Yeah, but in like, you need to fear the fact that you might die
Anything can happen
in this second or this second.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You might die. We might both get hit by a car when we walk out of this room, you know?
Yeah.
And that's why you were saying, oh, I fear not becoming the person I want to be. You know what I'm saying? I feel like that ties into a fear of death.
Yeah.
And you're not quite properly processing that. Like, you need to be happy with what you did today and who you are every day, not who you can become, because you're not fearing death. That fear of death, then it's like you're prolonging when you think death is going to happen. You know what I'm saying? You're not actually fearing, like, you're not actually dealing with that like immediate pressure of death. You know what I'm saying?
a little bit.
Yeah, I don't even know how quite to think about it either, you know?
It's just, I mean, it's a matter of making sure every day that you're alive, you go to sleep knowing that you did everything you could to make yourself better, or like enjoy the time that you have on this planet. You know what I mean? Like, you can't go to bed feeling like shit, like we were talking about. You can't have a negative mentality, but just always striving to do the best you can, and also having the maximum amount of enjoyment out of life at the same time. And just that way, if you were to die at any second, you would be satisfied. But like I said, if you're on that path, that's what really matters. As long as you have that goal in mind, and if you have that self vision that you want to be the best, then you can always go to sleep feeling good that you did the most that you could that day. So
doing the most at what? Like, what is the purpose of life? To enjoy it, or to contribute to humanity? Like, what do you think about when you think about like your legacy or that fear of death? Are you thinking like, oh, I didn't enjoy my life enough? Are you thinking like, I didn't build this thing I want to build, or I didn't see the things I want to see, or I didn't contribute to humanity the way I wanted to contribute? Like, what is that purpose?
Those all come into play, but I feel like ultimately they lead to the same thing, if that makes sense.
What is that thing?
Just being fulfilled and knowing that,
yeah,
like, you made the most out of every aspect of life, as far as happiness, as far as self-growth, as far as what you contribute to this world.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, 'cause all those things kind of make yourself fulfilled and happy at the end.
Yeah, fulfillment is an art. You know, it's apparently there's these 2 steps to fulfillment that not everyone meets, right? There's the other steps, I forget what they are, but one of them is like the feeling of security, like the feeling of insecurity, right? Like, oh, I have a house and a table here, I know that it'll be there tomorrow. Then there, maybe insecurity is not the right word, but then there's also the feeling of like anything could happen tomorrow, right? You need both of those things. And there's a couple other ones, but then there's 2 that like not everyone reaches, and one of them is growth, to grow as a human, right? To keep learning and stuff. And then the other one is to contribute more than yourself, like contribute something extra. And not everyone grows, and not everyone contributes to the greater good, you know what I'm saying, in life. And I feel like it's okay to be selfish with that. Like you said, like, you're looking for fulfillment, you know what I'm saying? And so, not about enjoying the moment or whatever. And so it's okay to like try to contribute to the world for your own sake of fulfillment, you know what I'm saying? Yes, you want to make the world a better place, you know what I'm saying? But to know that if I don't grow as a human and I don't contribute to the world, like, I'm not going to feel fulfilled. Like, I feel like it's fine to have almost a selfish mindset with the way you contribute, you know?
But the more you grow, the more you'll be able to contribute.
Exactly,
in
yeah.
a positive way.
That's
like,
true too.
The more of yourself will be unleashed to the world. Because like, right, you know, if you're not where you want to be, then you're only giving out half of what you can. And like, your vibe, your aura, what you put out to this world isn't maxed out. It isn't where it really can be. So those kind of go hand in hand.
Yeah, I have not even started focusing on contributing to like more than myself yet. Like, I think I need to grow all of my 20s and maybe all of my 30s and then spend my 40s and 50s contributing. But then that also goes, well, what if I die tomorrow?
Exactly.
I'm
Yeah.
obviously not thinking about it the right way, but or the best way, the most optimum way. Because if I die tomorrow, I didn't contribute that much, I
Yeah.
mean, I think these podcast episodes might help somebody. I
Mm-hmm.
think that I don't have a lot of users on the app, but the hopefully maybe one or two people can use the app right now and get something out of it. But I also like I'm growing. I feel like I'm building something bigger, and I need to grow as a person. I need to grow my software, my podcast, my company more, and then we can boom contribute.
Mm-hmm.
I probably need to find it more along the way as I'm talking. I'm kind of realizing that, but you know, I do get excited about growing so that when it's really hopefully if I get the chance to live that long and I get the chance to contribute, I'm like ready. You know what I'm saying? I've been growing. I've been
Mm-hmm.
focusing on that. But yeah, they definitely go hand in hand, right?
Yeah. Because what you're doing right now with the podcast is a way of contributing.
Yeah, I
Because
hope
it's
so.
insight for other people to feed off and to learn from. That way
Or
they can apply it to their lives.
or I'm just stroking my ego.
But you're not.
Hey, listen to me. Look at what I think.
Yeah, but it also
Are we not
provides
just
insight.
yeah.
And like that's why I make all my self-improvement videos to help other people gain their own insight.
Or you just stroking your own ego and feeling good about yourself and, bragging about how healthy you are and, okay, I'm just,
I mean, I mean subconsciously potentially, but I mean
Yeah.
that's not like
That's not the
but
goal.
I feel like consciously I'm going into these videos thinking about what other people can take away from it. So that's my focus when I'm doing it.
I'm just asking those questions, to get a different perspective. But
Yeah.
I really do feel like I am making these videos to spread my ideas, which I think are positive, and I think that one day my company will just naturally be having a big positive influence on the world, and I feel like this is a mini way, like a microcosm way of talking about what I'm going to do that might inspire people to do their thing or to help me
Right.
or to have some sort of positive influence on what it is. Because after I was working on the app for like 3 or 4 years, I was like, this shit still hasn't even helped anybody yet, like it's still today, it's still like, it's at a place where everyone can use it now, but we're still working out the kinks. We're still getting it right, and I was like, I'm not helping anyone yet. Whereas like these podcast episodes, they might only reach 10 people, but at least I've begun that journey of contributing something. So if
Right.
I remember I was on the way back from Frank and Kayla's house and I was like, damn, dude, like I could die in a car crash. Like as long as these podcast episodes that are in my laptop see the internet, like I feel like I did the full lap of my friend group, right? Because now I'm back here with you. So I got to like all my friends. Like when I started the podcast, I imagined those 10 people that were going to be on it. And I like Frank and Kayla were the last two. And I was like, damn, if someone just gets these out to the internet, then I've completed this like lap and I could, I could potentially die happy. You know what I'm saying? Because even if I didn't build the gym, I at least got these episodes out and I talked about it and I've spread some ideas and I, captured some friendships that I have. And I, it was just like, wow, like the world would at least know what I set out to do if I died,
Exactly.
right now. And now I'm living in that afterglow of like, okay, the world kind of knows, I think, or the world could find out at least, or I've
Like
stated
you're
it. I've
leaving something behind.
yeah.
You know what I mean? And I feel like everyone has that potential to create something. Yet people just get so sucked into being a consumer where they're just always scrolling and viewing other people's content. Whereas
Yeah.
we all have our own skills and abilities and insight on the world to share and to create something that other people could also gain from.
Yeah.
And I feel like more people have to start doing that and not just get sucked into consuming.
Yeah, man. I saw someone's bio. It was literally like a bio that said create over like greater than consume or something like that. It was just so simple and it made so much sense to me. Like, yes,
Yeah.
just spend more time creating than you are consuming, But it's weird. I was talking to Frank about how as AI starts to like take over all of our jobs and stuff, we need to start, moving to the cloud and creating YouTube videos and podcasts and Twitch streams and just do things that other people enjoy, right? Because there will be a day where a robot can do everything better than we can. But what can we do? We can entertain each other, right? We're going to have a more startup culture, like where everyone has their own internet thing that they do, whether it's a YouTuber or whatever. And in order for that to work, though, we also have to consume each other's content. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't just be a creator necessarily. Yeah. You need to support your friends. And you need to be, I think, very strategic and selective with what
you do consume?
Yeah, what you do consume. Exactly. You shouldn't just be consuming because there's 10 minutes in your day with you don't know what to do, and so I'll just consume. Like, you should be very intentionally like, I'm going to consume Dan's YouTube videos. I'm going to consume this Blake's app. I'm going to consume all the things
that will help your path.
Yeah, or help my friends and help my network. Like, I want you guys all to succeed, and I shouldn't just be consuming this girl on Instagram that I don't actually like, and I'm like, she sucks, but I'm gonna spend 10 minutes,
mindless content.
Yeah, like sending her picture to other people and hating on her. Like, it should be positive consuming, but I feel like you should spend more time creating than consuming. But like I was saying, in order for that like new economy to work that I think is around the corner for us, I don't know, we do need to consume some, or at least consume the people that we want
that have value for your life.
Yeah, and that we want to see succeed.
Exactly.
Way, Yeah.
There's a fine line.
There is a fine line. Yeah, I definitely. I'm not trying to say I don't spend time consuming content. I wish I didn't. I'm getting better at it as everyone is, I think. But it's important that we at least start that path of being more intentional with how we consume.
Right. It's really important. But the most important thing to consume is the natural world.
Mother Nature, God's gift. Yeah. Have you been more in touch with nature now that you moved down here?
As far as the beach goes, yeah, but going back to work, I mean, that consumes so much time that, like, because like I said in that one video, Break the Cycle, it's like my routine: work, gym, eat dinner, go to sleep. So I don't have that much time to really I do go to the beach a lot, but I mean, I don't know, going back to the whole traveling thing too, it's like I want to see other natural parts of the world, but I feel like there's a lot more that I could be doing outside. I mean, I do ride my bike a lot, and I'm skating now again, so I'm outside, but not in a natural setting, like as much as I want to. So I want to get more into species identification and learning more about ecosystems, habitats, and other parts of the world too. Just getting like a full scope of how the world works from a biological level.
Yeah, did we talk about that YouTube video? Because I really like that one. Did we mention that today yet?
We've talked about concepts that were mentioned in it, but not the video. No.
So you just quickly mentioned this YouTube video where it was do something different.
Break the cycle.
I reposted that one. I really like that one because Dan was saying that every week he does the same thing. He just went over it. And then, first of all, this video was like art. It was beautiful, Dan. It was Dan just saying his routine and saying do something different. And then just some cool music played, and it just showed him shooting hoops and going on a run and reading in nature. It was just almost corny, but then it was very peaceful and art, and it's just, and the thing I liked about it too is that you could have tweeted that out. Do something different. This week I played basketball, I read outside, and that could have been condensed into a tweet, And that's how I knew that you were doing this video for yourself and that this is the video that you enjoy. You know what I'm saying? Because you took your time with it, you put some music to it, you obviously set up a camera in several different places.
Different weeks too.
And you didn't need to do all that. But I could tell that you were doing it for your own enjoyment. It didn't matter to you if no one else watched this video. Because there was a point where I was like, why do I need to sit here and watch this video? Dan could have, once the music started, I already had the message, right? Do something different. If anything, I should pause the video and go do something different instead of watching your video, I obviously kept watching it, but I just liked the fact that I could tell the style of this video was for yourself. This meant something to you. And that's why I stayed and watched it, and think it was something I'll remember. It's definitely was more impactful than a tweet. You know, like just because it could have been condensed doesn't mean it should have. Like it doesn't mean that was the best way to get that point across. Like, you know,
right.
To create that like little movie. It was like a movie. You know?
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's pretty fun to make.
Like a lot of YouTube videos, they're like, "Hey guys, what's up?" And then it's like they clip out all the space, the air. You know what I'm saying? It's like I did, and it's just like people want that constant stream of information, you know, in their face, and they don't really necessarily enjoy a video like that anymore, which is like casual music playing in the background as much. You know, they don't. Yeah. They want 10-second videos. You know. They want it. They want it
TikTok
faster.
style videos.
Yeah, TikTok. Yeah, like you could have taken all those videos and made them 2 seconds each. Yeah. Boom, 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 boom. This is what I did this week. You know what I'm saying? And people on TikTok would have been like, "Word, got it." You know.
And then like, on to the next one. And then I'll just forget about it. You know?
Exactly. But like, no, like if you really wanted to like consume this message correctly, you really need to think about, you know, and that I felt like it was more appropriate to like lengthen that video out and let people think about what they're going to be doing different this week instead of getting caught into their you know, similar spiral as usual, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know.
It was pretty fun to make.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to showcase like what you can do with your time and like how it can be fun, how you can experience things that you didn't think you would have been able to with your time if you just allocate it differently. And they're all like normal things. Like I was skating, I ran, played basketball, read, but just like doing something different is very therapeutic in a way and just like reminds you of like what you can be doing in life and like like all the enjoyment that you can get out of it. And another thing is just going back to your roots too. You know, like some people watching the video might not have played basketball in like 2 years, like, oh shit, I should play basketball tomorrow, you know, or like going for a run. I mean, it's just like it's all simple things that I did, but like even though they were minimal, they really did have a big impact and like reminded me on like a lot of things in life that I kind of put on the shelf and didn't do for a long time.
I feel like when you do something different too, it helps the way you like remember a time period or remember something.
Exactly. Yeah.
When I look back on like my time at MicroStrategy, a lot of those days and weeks and months kind of mold together. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's just a sea of like, I went into the office, I did the same thing, I fixed a similar problem, and I talked to the same people. And none of those days like stand out.
Exactly. That's why I did this.
And sometimes it's sad. Like I'll be living a day that's similar to all my other days, and I'll just think to myself like, this day's I'm gonna forget this day. Like this day is gonna get washed over in a sea of other days.
I have the same thoughts. Yeah.
You know, and I'm just sitting there. A lot of days at MicroStrategy, I'd just be sitting there with my friends on a break, and I would just be thinking like, we do this same thing every day. Like I'm just not. This is not gonna stand out to me a year from now. You know. It just makes me sad, you know? And so I think doing something different, now each of those days are going to stand out to you. You know,
exactly.
You're going to remember that week. You're going to remember that feeling of like, wow, I haven't used this skateboarding skill in a while, you know? Because right after the pandemic, they started opening up gyms again. I started playing basketball for the first time, and I wasn't good at it or whatever. But that time period really stands out to me. I don't play basketball anymore, but just for like a month, I just played a lot of basketball. Yeah, and I remember that very distinctly because it wasn't just the same workout routine that I usually do. You know, and I'm like, whoa. And so, you know, yeah, I like love my life right now in Florida, but it's very consistent, and I might not remember it as distinctly as if I switch it up and, you know, make sure I'm doing something that I'm going to remember. Yeah. Even if you're doing something very important in life, like it might not be memorable, unfortunately. Like the everyday grind, you know, is not as memorable as even a slightly different variation that might just have no meaning or purpose to it. But
just a slight tweak can really make a big difference. And when I look back on all those weeks, I've been doing it since like before after Christmas. I think it's been like right after Christmas I started doing it, and like each one of those weeks I can think back and remember that specific week. Whereas before Christmas I would just be like, nah, there was no change at all in every week, so it all felt the same. Can't remember anything.
I mean, yeah. Like imagine if when we die we just get to keep our memories. You know what I'm saying? That makes sense to me too. Maybe you just get to relive your memories, you know, for forever. You just jump between each one, you know? I don't know what happens when I die, but I know that I've lost a lot of memories along the way. You know what I'm saying? Just doing unmemorable shit. Maybe the point to life is to have as many memorable days so that when you do die, you have a bigger catalog of things to watch, you know? I mean, that might be just eternity. Like, okay, you know, I wonder if you get to just kind of like zap into different days, you know? Like right now,
Cool.
I could be dead, you know, and you don't remember being dead, but I was like, oh, I want to remember that day with Dan, and I'm here right now, you know, and I'm talking to you because you know what? We're recording this shit right now, and we're making a memory. Like
exactly.
Even if for some reason I forgot this conversation, I'm gonna watch it again and then remember it. So like today, that's why I get excited about things like this. I'm like, I know for sure I'm doing a memorable thing today. Like this is so exciting, you know. And if I die, I'm gonna be able to like experience this one. But yesterday, I don't know about yesterday. The day before, I don't know about the day before. I might not be able to experience those days when I die.
It's so weird how it works like that.
Yeah.
Like how selective it really is. I mean, it makes sense, but at the same time, it's like, what the hell? Like, it's like our brain chooses what to remember and like based on the significance or just the fact that it's a variation. But it's just like interesting how the brain works where we just don't have any idea like why or how that happens. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I do know.
Like, what?
Someone was saying like they don't trust like eyewitness testimonies because your memory is not as accurate as you think it is. You know, it shouldn't hold up in a court of law basically, because people think they remember certain things that are not true, or they do remember things that, or they think things didn't happen that did happen. It's just and then there's just so many parts of my timeline that are just like a sea of like the same. You know what's weird too is when like you get a certain smell and then it's like
that happens all the time.
Like I remember all these other things. Yeah, certain
like
senses.
Why is it smell though? You know what I mean? Like that's such a random sense to bring back memories. You know what I mean? Whereas like sound would make. I mean, for like music, it's the same way. But but for some reason, smell always hits different. Like it always brings it back so much more vividly, and it's just much more surreal. It's like holy shit! It just brings this wave of nostalgia that's like. That you don't feel like with any other sense or any other time, you know? You
love nostalgia.
Yeah.
You're nostalgic for nostalgia, bro.
I'm actually watching Lost again.
Dan was obsessed with Lost all through high school. He's probably seen it like 7 or 8 times.
I think it's number 6 right now or 5.
Oh my gosh, dude. Oh.
Chill.
That's a geek. But to focus on nostalgia, like why do you like nostalgia so much? I feel like it has a bigger meaning to you than it does to most people.
Just youth. Just being reminded of my youth. That's the main thing for me. And it's just it's brought a sense of gratitude to, you know, where we came from and like just having a youthful sense on things, you know what I mean? And like coming from your roots and just all the experiences that led to where we are right now. And then in addition to that, all the first time experiences just really stand out like more than anything else. And that's what's really valuable. And just, you know, like learning things for the first time and just, I don't know, for some reason, all those memories that I have doing things for the first time really like have a strong hold on me and just like set the tone for who I am and like where I came from. So whenever I get that sense of nostalgia, it just really brings like a lot of emotion. Just like, damn, like, cause like when you do things over and over and then it becomes super repetitive, it just loses that touch and you forget why it's valuable. But then when you get that nostalgia and then you're reminded of that, you just remember why it's like the way it is.
Are you like aware that you're probably building nostalgia right now in Florida, being like, this is the first time you moved to Florida, not just live there for the summer? Like, cause I do agree with you. I just think that, there's something cool to be said about the present moment too. And, you know, a lot of times I thought maybe you were looking back on your childhood or things like that. And there is a lot to be said about how cool that is in the sense of nostalgia. But I feel like at least for right now, we should both be building our new versions of nostalgia, right? Are you conscious of that, or are you more focused on like childhood? And
I don't think about that in that sense, but I just feel like I don't really get nostalgia for anything in the past couple of years. It's always like early college and back.
I would agree with that, but I would hope, and I feel like now, like
since I've made a major change,
since you've moved, is that
is it? I mean, I haven't felt it yet, so I don't know, but I probably will in a few years.
I think maybe because you lived in Florida a couple times, like
I'm already kind of familiar
feel
with it.
This is the first time I've lived outside of Virginia, so I'm like, whoa, this is different. Like
Mm-hmm.
this is still, it's like you were saying, learning something for the new time. It's all about getting that first, and like
Yeah.
this maybe not be a first for you, but for me, it's like a first. It's like, whoa, maybe that's why you want to go live in Brazil or something, to get another first, to
Yeah.
build another nostalgia moment.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's interesting. I like what you said about going back to like a child mindset, because first of all, did you listen to the review about Leonardo da Vinci?
Some of it, yeah, like
The,
half the video.
yeah, so we'll go back to this at some point, but he was very into nature. So I want to touch back on that. But also, they said that he had like a very childlike wonder to him. And the more I learn about important men and important like people in society, or just inspirational people, like they all seem to have this like childlike wonder to them, like Steve Jobs and Kanye West and all these people that they go on, they're very creative, like Walt Disney is someone else I look up to. They all have this way of like tapping into this childlike mindset and seeing the world as if it's for the first time, and especially when they design and create things, it's very, it seems to be like a very important tool, to creativity and innovation. So it's something that I've been putting on the forefront as like a focus, but it's even saying those words, like I don't know necessarily how to infuse it into my life yet, but I guess I would hope that your focus on nostalgia doesn't stop you from having that childlike wonder in your current day. You know what I'm saying? Like, wow, I used to have the childlike wonder, like, but you can still have it. Like, you should still try to tap into it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like today, like when you're looking out at nature and stuff, like
I feel like I do still.
you do.
I feel like that's what separates me from a lot of people.
Okay, that's good then. That's good. What does that do for you? What is
Just having a free spirit and being open-minded with like people that I meet or things that I do. I don't really have a limit, or I'm not particular when it comes to like doing something new or different. I just kind of go with it and like want to experience something different. Whereas some other people might be less inclined to do that based on preconceived notions that they shouldn't do it. It's dangerous. It's risky. But I'm more into taking chances and just living. You know what I mean? Like just having that free spirited nature.
I like that. I kind of express it in different ways. I try not to know things necessarily. Like I feel a lot of people when they become an adult, or like of age as an adult, they feel like they have to know things, and they feel like they have to, have an opinion on something. And so with this podcast in particular, like I'll ask Blake, like, what is computer science? Like I should know what that is, but I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I do know what that is, just because I've been coding for a long time. Like maybe I don't yet. Maybe I don't know what it is. Maybe I do need to ask Blake. Like I'm not scared to ask those simple questions that society has determined like I should know, or like an employer might be like, oh, he didn't know what that is, Like I'm not scared to sit here and be like, Dan, like what is basketball? Like like what is it? Is it a sport? I don't know, like that sounds kind of stupid, but like that is literally a question a child might ask their dad. You know what I'm saying? Like they, like I'm not scared to take it down to ground zero and be like, can we have a conversation like this? Like I'm like, I don't understand. In fact, sometimes when people explain things to me, I literally say, can you explain it to me like I'm a kid or something? But because it, I don't want to let what I think I should know about a subject get in the way of what I do or don't know about it, And so, I try to step away from that. And then that kind of goes hand in hand with, like, I don't want to make up my mind about anything, like politics and stuff like that. Like I might vote Republican one year and Democrat the next year, right? Yeah. I'm not going to make up my mind about like, this is the correct political party, or this is the correct religion, or this is the correct pursuit, in life, because with new information, I might be proven wrong, and so those two kind of go hand in hand. It's less about like experiencing new things for me. It's more about ideas and like not letting ideas shape who I am and not letting my knowledge get in the way of my learning, you know?
Mm-hmm. That's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Damn. I mean, because if you have that kind of mindset, it opens the doors to other perspectives as to how other people see something as well.
Yeah.
So you can learn off of them. Even if you do know something to a certain degree, there's always more to be learned from it if you just kind of take someone else's viewpoint or their own knowledge, and you can see it from their point of view, and then you'll be able to see it with more of a full scope. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, if you're more vulnerable like that, and if you're more open, it'll allow you to soak up more information on that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man. What else can I learn from Dan? You're like, that's it? I'm out.
Peace.
I feel like I broke like a momentum we were having.
You broke the barrier.
But that's what I try to do is I try to soak up like a sponge like as much as I can from each guest. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, obviously you've shared a lot already. But yeah, what else did you hope we talked about before you walked in today? Is there anything else that you're like, damn, I hope we get to talk about this? Were you even thinking like that?
I just went into it open, like we were just talking about, just like. But I did want to touch on the fact that I'll be shooting a video with this guy on Monday.
Yeah, let's talk about that.
Famous YouTuber.
Yeah, what's going on there, man?
So on YouTube, his channel name is UF Powerlifter, and you've probably seen his videos. He's like 5'8", 156 pounds, and he can bench press over 400 pounds.
Ooh. Wait, how much does he weigh?
156.
Oh,
and shit. He can bench over 400.
Damn.
I think his most popular video is like 7.8 million views, and it's of him benching 410.
Wow.
And he's just, so he's just insane. Like, I feel like for his body size, he's probably one of the strongest, if not the strongest in the world. And he's like in my backyard. So it's just crazy how I get this opportunity. But I was talking to this one guy at my gym, and we were just talking, and he mentioned that he worked out with that guy like a week prior. And I was like, wait, UF Powerlifter? Like the guy on YouTube was like, yeah, I just worked out with him. I was like, what? How? It's like, I just hit him up on IG and I just asked him if I could. And he said, yeah. And I was like, what? He's like, yeah, man, you should too. I was like, what? Like, I didn't realize he was just down to work out with people. So I did. And he said he was down. And I also mentioned that I have a YouTube channel that I was going to film. He's like, yeah, man, sure. Just go ahead. I was like, what?
Oh,
it's just like crazy. So I think he has like 100,000 subs on YouTube.
Whoa.
So it's going to be pretty sick. And I'll get a lot of insight from him. I'll learn a lot and just work out with him. So it's going to be sick.
That's awesome. Does he have like his own gym or?
No, he works out at LA Fitness. It's in like Winter Park, Orlando.
So you're going to set up your cameras there and film something?
Yeah.
That's okay?
Yeah, because he films like 3 times a week there. And he posts them up on YouTube. So I'm just going to set it up like where he has his camera.
And what? Are you just going to do a workout with him and he's going to like spot you and stuff?
Yeah.
And maybe
I'm going to ask him a few questions and stuff about like his diet, like his
interview and shit.
His workout plan and shit. Because like, dude, do you know anyone that can bench that much? 400 plus, like that's 4 plates.
No. That's how much
And like he weighs less than me.
That's how much I deadlifted like in my prime.
Yeah, like dude, it's just insane. Like I don't understand. So I'm just gonna kind of pick his brain and see what kind of insight I can get from him. It's gonna be sick.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
So let me think. Yeah, that's awesome, dude. I would love to interview that guy if like things go.
Oh yeah, shit. Yeah. I can ask him too if we want to come on the podcast.
Yeah, I mean, just make sure that like you have a good experience with him.
Yeah.
But then, yeah, dude. I mean, you should like show him this episode or something. And be like, hey, this guy would love to interview you because I've really interviewed like a lot of my guests and stuff. But I'm not eager to do this. I'm not eager to like reach out to a semi-famous person, yet. I want to build like an established like what this is, but like. Someone like him, it would be huge to interview him. It would be huge for like what I could learn from him and just, his fan base and things like that. So I would definitely love to
that'd be really cool.
Contact him too. That's scary. That's intimidating for me to be like, oh, I should reach out to this guy. Like,
I mean, I can talk to him though and see if he would be down.
Yeah, like I said, just make sure like you become his friend first.
Yeah.
Don't just show up and be like, hey man, can this other guy,
Yeah,
just,
to make sure
just actually like enjoy
yeah.
your time with him. I don't want that to get.
That can't be like the priority for me to just be like, yo, so my friend has a podcast.
Yeah.
Like when I first meet him.
Yeah, but
no,
I mean,
but
that would be huge.
Yeah, I'll try to see what I can do.
Yeah, I can definitely also like take all these cameras and mics and stuff and make it portable. I feel like a lot of people like that who are kind of out of my reach for the podcast would be down to be interviewed, but probably don't want to travel to me.
Yeah, that's true.
So this studio is dope. I love it.
It's portable.
Yeah, but I am portable. Even these lights, man, it's definitely portable. Well, that's exciting, man. I hope that all goes well.
Yeah, it's gonna be sick.
Oh, another quick idea for cross promotion. So like you're gonna go there and you're gonna work with him, right? Like that would be good for your channel.
Mm-hmm.
But your channel actually has a lot more subscribers than my channel. I was thinking we might want to take a clip from this interview,
put it on my channel
and put it on your channel. Yeah. That would be sick, right?
Yeah, wait, actually.
Because I only have like 20 or 30 subscribers, I mean, the YouTube is not the main event for me. It's like the audio platforms, I feel like. But yeah, I feel like that might help me a lot, just because you seem to have a bigger reach than I do these days.
Yeah.
So that would be very exciting,
You're going to send it over to me and I can post it.
Definitely. Yeah. We'll like sit back and pick out the best clip and shit.
Hey.
I need to go to the bathroom, dude. I don't want to stop yet, but I want to go to the bathroom.
Send it.
I just got back from a bathroom break, guys. That's going to be the one thing that stops me from doing just 3 hours straight is I cannot handle not peeing for 3 hours because I've been drinking this jug. Bro.
Jungle jug.
You need a bigger water bottle, bro. I think I need a bigger water bottle.
I actually do, though, yeah.
She's got the full gallon. I got the half gallon.
Where'd you get that at?
Online. Yeah, I got it on Amazon. I just literally Googled half gallon.
That's like perfect.
Yeah. I do think... I don't want a full gallon. It's just too big, I don't
half
actually want a full gallon.
Half gallon's perfect.
But I should drink a gallon a day. So
just fill it up twice.
When I had Kayla as a nutritionist, like water was one of the biggest focuses. It was like, are you drinking enough water? And I was like, I'm doing a half gallon a day. And she was like, you need to up it more. I was like, dude, that's so much. Like I pee so much, dude. But yeah, it's definitely, I feel healthier,
Drink to that.
So anyways, I was telling you I want to make this episode extra long because we don't see each other often now. And I don't know when the next time I'm going to see you or anybody, And I was telling you when I was with Frank, right, and Kayla, I made them record 5 episodes. And I'm still sitting on a Frank episode right now. It's unreleased. So, and his were more like he had subjects to talk about, like there was psychology, right? And then I wanted to do like a more casual one like this. And then his last one is about this straw company that he started. That
straw company?
Yeah. I obviously will get into it, or I'm going to put an episode out. I don't want to talk about it too much right now because it's unreleased, but they're environmentally friendly straws that he sells online, and then something went wrong with his website, so we're going to wait until his website's ready to put out that last one. But I was like maximizing my time with Frank, you know what I'm saying? I was like, I got probably 5 or 6 hours of content with the dude, and then 2 episodes with Kayla. Like I got there and I just recorded for like 24 hours straight. I didn't stop. It was so much fun though, honestly. And I haven't seen anyone in person since then.
Really?
So I needed to get my fill, and now I need to get my fill right now, because if not, it's like, I don't know, man. I've done some online ones, and I'm sitting on some unreleased online interviews right now, but they're not the same, unfortunately. They're good because the other person gets to talk a lot, It's hard for me to like interrupt and ask questions or interject as much, and so... Especially for a first episode, I feel like it's actually not bad, to get them online, and then maybe someday after the pandemic, they come in person and we can flow a little bit better. Because like I said, your first episode is more of like an introduction, and this one is more like I have more room to talk, now that you've already been on one time. But there is something just missing from the online episodes.
Yeah,
it's just not as real. It's not as just tangible, and the quality can drop a little bit depending on their mic.
Yeah.
I just don't feel as good about them. It's not as exciting, It's weird. Bye. And you're just like in your room alone. And you're just like, okay,
Yeah.
But I do think I'm gonna be able to like discover like much better guests that way. You know, like there's some people I'm talking to, like this dude you're meeting with, right? He might hop on a web video call with me before he wants to drive over here or have me come to him. You know, like he might just be like, sure, I'll get on a web call with you.
Yeah.
Like, why wouldn't you? You know. But I don't know anyone in town yet. Like, I'm waiting until me and Sabrina get vaccinated before I really start to like network around town. And so, you know, I'm kind of stuck with either the online ones, solo episodes, or once in a blue moon, I get something like this. Yeah. And that's why I'm like, this is so exciting and like special, dude, you know? Like, I think it was October is when I recorded Frank's episodes.
Damn.
So this is 4 months later?
That's crazy.
Wait.
Yeah, November, December, January. Yeah, 4.
4 months later, yeah. And then it might be another 4 months till I get another in-person one. And then hopefully they'll happen more often. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Or they're, you know, yeah. Hopefully if I fail at making friends in town, that'll be kind of sad. But, you know, yeah, there might be another 2-month break at least, you know, before someone else comes and visits me, or I take the time to go visit somebody else. So this is a special day for me. I'm excited, and I like how we didn't talk much. I just feel like we're coming.
So went right into it.
Yeah, we're shining. I feel like we're shining today. I feel like I did it a lot in the Frank episode, the second one, because like I said, we had already had an episode all about his, you know, psychology stuff. So I shine pretty well in that one as far as just getting my own opinions out. But I might have reached another level today where I'm like being the podcast host that I should be, you know? Yeah. I don't know. There's something about being the host of the show and getting your own opinions out and across while not stepping on the toes of, you know, as far as like being rude to the guest too, but also, you know, usually they're an expert in something you don't know, you know, like I'm not going to sit here and tell you how to run a YouTube channel because you have more subscribers than me, but I also need to ask you questions and have opinions without like my audience, an audience. I don't feel like they want to just hear the guest because they don't know that person, you know, they want to hear the host really dig deep and go back and forth with the guests, you know? And so you're doing a great job of letting me talk today, obviously. Sometimes guests, they just run over me, you know? And that's great, but I'm like, you're also talking to my audience, you know? And I'm not trying to bash on anyone. It's also my job to push back. If they're running over me, I need to be like, hey, you know, interject with a question or an opinion, which is sometimes hard to do online, but it's not anyone's fault, right? It's my show. Like, I need to control it. I need to have opinions when it's time to have opinions and have questions when it's time to have questions. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, man.
There's always a balance to be had.
Definitely, there's a balance. So how do you find balance with your work life, and how do you stay active and do all these things? I know you said it held you back some, but do you have a method or just a way that you keep a nice balance with your work to your active life?
Well, what does help is that my job allows me to be active on the job. So that's where I get a lot of my steps, because I have to walk all these sites where I do my investigations. So I'm already active at work, but when I get off work, I immediately hit the gym. That's like the first thing I do. So I don't even hesitate. You know, I don't have to do anything else. I just go right to the gym, and that's just like my routine. So, there's nothing in the way of that. But on the weekends, I always hit the gym first thing in the morning, and then I'll either go for a bike ride, skate, hit the beach. So, being active is like always a focal point for me, and then everything else kind of comes second. So I feel like I'm already ingrained into that way of life, which is pretty cool.
Yeah. And then so like on a weekend, then you'll go read or do something at night, like once you've done something active. Like,
yeah, so the first thing I do, like I do something active first, and then whatever comes next.
What if the homie's like, yo, let's go watch a movie tomorrow at noon, you know? I gotta go be active.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I got hit
or
up
let's go to a day drink.
Yeah, actually one of my friends invited me out to get some mimosas like at noon on a Saturday, and I was like, nah. Yeah. No, sir.
No.
Because if that were to happen, I would just be like doing nothing else for the entire day. Like, you can't drink first thing and then like, it's like, okay, what the...
Day drinking is so fucking fun, but...
When you're in college, but...
Well, it's fun when you're not in college too, except for then, there's repercussions and you feel like you shouldn't have done that. And college gives you the free pass to be like, I should be drinking at noon, because I'm in college. So it doesn't, there's more repercussions. You miss out on some more adult things on a Saturday if you don't drink, but it's still fun, I would say.
Yeah.
And I feel like, I've kind of tried to make sure if I ever do that, it's on a holiday or a special occasion. It can't be like, it's spring, time to drink.
Can't be like
day.
every weekend or a habit at all. No.
Yeah.
Because once you do, like your whole day is just wasted after that. I mean, unless you just have like one drink, you'll be fine. But if you have like more than 3 drinks, like you really can't do anything active after that.
I tip my hat to anyone who can go to a day drink or like something like that and have one drink and go home and work out or read or something.
Yeah, that's what I want to. That's kind of wave I want to be on. But that's why I stopped drinking too, because I don't want to be influenced to like get crunk and then just waste an entire afternoon or day the next day. I just want to stay stable and like not get swayed in the wrong direction. Because with me, I have a hard time like not going overboard. So I feel like the only option is to just like say nothing. Otherwise, if I have 1 or 2, it'll lead to more, and then next thing I know, I'm just wasting a lot of time.
Yeah. No, I have to just remove myself from situations like that. Like, I know myself too well at this point. I have to not keep alcohol in the house. Like, I'm not the kind of guy who can just have a couple handles of liquor, under a cabinet and drink it once every 3 months.
Yeah,
like if I have a handle of liquor in the house, like I'll take a little bit every night. Like I'll drink. It just, I need it to be removed from my situation, and that's why that's probably the healthiest part about me moving to Florida is I do want to make friends again someday. I do want to make friends down here eventually, but I've really enjoyed, honestly, not having any friends, not having anyone be like, hey man, you're missing out on the day drink. Hey man, you're missing out on the sports game. Like, we're all having beer over here. Cause like I wasn't able to go to the sports game and just enjoy the game. Like, I would always have a beer. Like there's something about like a social context that makes me want to have a beer in my hand. Like I know that I'm way more social and more fun and I enjoy it more. Like if I don't, I'm just that guy who's kind of quiet and like to the side and like feeling awkward, like I don't belong.
It's honestly crazy how ingrained alcohol is into social settings when you're an adult. Like it's a staple. Like, why can't we just like social? I mean, it's like every single time there's a social gathering, it's always involved. Like, why can't we just like have a gathering with no alcohol? It's just every single time. Like that just, I mean, I feel like that just shows on like a societal level that we're uncomfortable with like being ourselves, like without the influence of anything else around other people.
Every drug does have its purpose, right? And I feel like with alcohol, the best thing for like to use alcohol for is actually to be a little bit social, right? Like if you're dealing with your stress with alcohol, or if you're trying to like get over some trauma with alcohol, or forget about your week, I don't know, or whatever it is, it can have a negative effect. And like the only time I think alcohol can actually be a positive thing is when you're in a social setting and you want to have 1 or 2 drinks, and you want to just kind of embrace that moment and like let your, I don't know, there's sometimes that voice in your head that's like, oh, you're not cool enough to talk to that person or that girl or whatever it is. I think that can actually be just a couple drinks, right? Can used correctly can be a positive tool to meet new people. I don't know, you could meet a business partner or something at like a business gathering. It can definitely be used in a positive way.
But we shouldn't rely on it.
No, you shouldn't rely on it at all.
Like you can still do that without having the drinks though, if you're fully comfortable with who you are.
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to get to.
You're right. We shouldn't rely on it. Yeah.
Like because we all have that in us, it just brings it out easier. You know what I mean? But if we just let all of our inhibitions go, we can easily just let ourselves shine naturally without the few drinks in order to make that happen. That's the way I wish it could be as easy as that. But unfortunately, most people just have to have those drinks in order to be who they really want to be.
Yeah. It's easier said than done.
Yeah, for sure.
I definitely struggle with that. I think the best like I said, for me, if I'm at a drinking event, it's I'm gonna have a challenge not drinking and and shining like that. That's something that I should work on. In general, though, like to find other events, you know what I'm saying, where I can shine and be myself without alcohol. I feel like an active event, like an activity or something, is the best. Say I meet some friends down here and I'm like, hey, you want to play volleyball? Okay. Or, hey, man, you want to surf, or you want to pick up soccer, or go work out together, or whatever it is, right? Something with like a better activity behind it definitely like takes my mind off of the socialization of it all, and allows me to shine and like be myself without a drink.
And that goes back to being active, like why you should be active. It just helps a lot of other things.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, like even right now, like when I'm just doing nothing but talking, I don't know. Like right now, I'm drinking caffeine. I like caffeine or alcohol. Either one helps me a lot. I don't know why I need that. Maybe it's something that I should reflect on more. But I don't think I would be as engaged today without some caffeine. Mm-hmm. I don't know. So it's hard to say.
I mean, there's really no harm done if you can only have a couple drinks, or if just a little caffeine is enough for you. But it's just the risk of going too far.
Yeah.
That's what does it for me.
Yeah. It's definitely not worth it for me to try to go have a drink if I'm not going to, if I'm not going to stop at one drink. But yeah, I should try more often to go to those drinking events and not drink, to push myself, or to actually only have one drink and just test myself. You know what I'm saying? Test myself if I can, I don't know, maybe pretend I'm not pretend. I hate people that pretend they're drunk, but push my confidence to be as confident as if I was 4 drinks in, even though I'm not, not pretend, but embrace, like, remember what it's like and embrace, that side of yourself,
And if you're at a social event, like at a venue, it might feel awkward, like not having anything in your hand to drink. So if you just ask the bartender for like a water, but like in a cocktail glass or some shit like that, like you'll feel like you are drinking, even though it's just water or like a soda or something. So
that is actually a good trick. It does help to have something in your hand like that.
Yeah. Because otherwise you're just like, your hands in your pockets, like.
Somehow make like the weakest drink of all time. You know what I'm saying? Like put like a third of a shot. The thing is, if people see you, if drunk people are so annoying. Like if a drunk person sees you making that drink, they're gonna be like, "Come on, man, that was nothing." But like that would be a fun day for me to go put a third of a shot into 3 different mixed drinks, and just have one shot like over the course of a couple hours. But like that sounds like such a bit. Like there's someone listening right now being like, "Dude, you're being a bitch." But
probably Charlie.
But like, yeah, Charlie's like, what the hell, dude? Who are you?
He probably hates this whole conversation right now.
Yeah. But you know what I'm saying? Like that would be the best scenario, I think, for me. To feel like I had 3 drinks, but in reality I had 1 drink.
Yeah.
Keep my wits about me. Just embrace a little bit of alcohol. Apparently 1 glass of wine is not bad for you at all. Not a lot of wine events, but apparently it can be healthy for you.
Yeah.
But I've never been able to buy a bottle of wine and just have 1 glass every night. I think I need to get... I was thinking about this. I should buy a bottle of wine, like a type that I hate. You know what I'm saying? Because then I could just have 1 glass. I'd be like,
I feel like,
sucks. Yeah. But then I'm like, well, then it'd be easier for me just not to drink then. Because why would I drink?
It's like, why would you even go through that pain?
Yeah. But maybe just for like whenever I'm craving it. The thing is, like, I'm good with the on-off. Like, I don't drink this week, Instead of being like, let me just have 1 drink, I don't know. That's just the way I work. I function better when I just kind of shut down a behavior,
Yeah.
and try to, like, super
mitigate it. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's tough. I feel like that's the one thing holding me back, if anything.
Drinking,
and then just social media use, too. That's why I don't usually have the apps on my phone. I only do if I post something, and then I'll keep it for like a day or 2 if I get any like feedback, and then I'll reply. But for the most part, I don't have apps on my phone.
I honestly wanted to get rid of social media at one point, and then I need it to promote the podcast and to promote the app. It's so sad that like I can't like I try to delete Instagram from my phone and just use it on the browser whenever I need to post something. And
That's what I do,
they don't
yeah.
let you post. They don't let you post from the browser.
Yeah.
So whenever I need to make a post, I need to re-download the apps, and then
I do the same thing.
I post like twice a week or something, like not that crazy, but enough where I'm like, I just need to have the app on my phone.
Yeah.
So I don't know, man.
It's tricky.
Social media, it's like, I get why there's so much hate on it, and I do think it's like probably a setback for our mental health slightly, but it also like, I feel like people forget how positive it is too. It's like it connects you with all these people. Like it allows, you know, like these advertisements and stuff, they are annoying, but they also allow the little guy like me to have run an advertisement campaign. Like I can put $5 into an advertisement campaign and get that ad in front of, you know, a couple hundred people, you know? There's not this big buy-in. Obviously, a bigger company can put $5 million into advertisements and get it in front of everybody, but social media does allow for the little guy to make it, you know? Mm-hmm. So it is like this crazy tool, you know, maybe through advertisements or just through, you know, building your page up or your profile up and making connections with people and organically building a following. It does allow people to go from no traction on their ideas and their products to having some traction. So, mm-hmm. And like I was saying earlier, like you can't just create and you can, but if everyone created and no one consumed, then no one would ever get anywhere with their creations. So I don't know. I do want to be better about it. I do want to minimize the way I use it, but I don't think it's the worst thing. I feel like it's getting a little bit too much hate, you know? I don't know. It's definitely not best for our mental health, but I don't know. I don't want to always just sit around and speak negatively on it as if it didn't do any good for anybody.
Yeah, I mean,
because
if you're a creator, obviously it plays a pretty big role in your success, and like you need it to like actually promote what you're putting out there. But if you're not a creator, like there's really no use for it, I feel like.
Yeah, like YouTube is a type of social media in a way. You know? So you're like a YouTuber, like, you know, that's become a decent part of your identity, you know? You can't completely shit on social media without acknowledging like the fact that, you know, you're connecting with people through it, you know? Mm-hmm. And you're actually maybe having a positive impact on people. Like on the one hand, you're like, look, I'm making these videos, I'm having a positive impact on people. And then on the other hand, you're like, social media is not good for my mental health. It's like, well, aren't you spreading a positive message on there?
But it's certain aspects of social media. Like if you're watching YouTube for the self-improvement videos, or if you're trying to get something out of it, then it can serve a purpose for you. But if you're just mindlessly scrolling on any other app that provides no value for you, then it's a negative. So it depends on how you use it, because yeah, it can be a huge positive, like you said, but it can also really turn back the wheels, you know.
But you can't have one without the other, right? You'd have to get rid of both, or you'd have to embrace both or manage the negative side of it, you know. But just like anything in life, you know, there's
balance.
Yeah. Balance, but also, you know, you got to sacrifice something for everything you gain. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. Like, the more you work, the more money you have, and then the less time you have to spend the money you have. I don't know. It's just like there's just this finite amount of energy and things and time and emotions that you have in life, and you gotta, every time you want to grow one piece of your pie, you know what I'm saying? You gotta give a slice away somewhere else, or, you know, you can't have it all. You can't have all the positive benefits of alcohol and social media and having 100 friends and not come with the negative benefits of the mental health or the physical health or the, you know, dealing with all your 100 friends' problems. You know, you can't just get the positive benefits of a friend or a job or an education without making that sacrifice. And I don't know, it's for someone like us who's trying to like make it, you know, through a social platform, like I guess we just have to like view that other parts of it as somewhat of a sacrifice. You know, you gotta be engaged on social media to succeed in it, you know. And like the way the Instagram algorithm works right now is like you have to go and like the more you like and comment on other people's things, the more engaged they'll be with your thing. Like I was talking to someone on Clubhouse the other day, which is a new version of social media. It's like an audio version. I just used it one time, but Yeah, Clubhouse is like a way for you to like jump into like rooms with people and like audio talk with them, and there's no like visual aspect of it. It's pretty cool, but it can also be time consuming like everything else. And I jumped in a room with these people that were talking about how to get Instagram engagements. And, they were saying it's not as much about followers these days. Like if someone likes your photo, say if 10 people like my photo, what I should do is go click on all their profiles and like one of all their photos and maybe even comment on one of all their photos, because that'll engage with them and then they'll engage back with me, and then they're more likely then to go listen to my podcast, basically. Well, then, okay, then now I'm spending 2 hours every day like liking and commenting on random people's photos. Is that worth my time? I don't know, but it's just like the sacrifice that has to be made. At least I'm using it. At least if I do that, I'm using it in a way that's like I'm treating it as I'm not just scrolling mindlessly. I'm like,
doing it.
At least I'm intentionally going to do something on it. I don't know how much time I'm going to spend doing that, but I'm like, okay, that would be how I succeed, because every photo, there's probably 2 or 3 random people that like my photo that I don't know who they are. If I go and engage with those people in some way, shape, or form, they're more likely to engage with my next photo and then engage with my next photo and then maybe actually go listen to a podcast episode and then maybe download my app,
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, and who knows, but I gotta make that social media sacrifice and engage with it along the way,
Yeah, it's tricky.
It is tricky.
There's a game you got to play.
What game?
The game of life.
The game of life. Yeah, the virtual game is the game of life now. It's all intertwined. It feels so fake, but it also is a bunch of other real people on the other end of that,
Yeah. It's brazy.
It is brazy, man. You watch the Super Bowl?
Yeah, it was whack.
Why was it whack?
Brady doing his thing, bro. He just sent it.
Yeah, isn't he just basically like a legend now?
He's the GOAT.
People are saying that he is better than Michael Jordan, like as far as like the top athlete of all time. Do you agree with that statement?
I mean, you really can't compare 2 different athletes in 2 different sports.
Yeah.
Like it's just as far as what they've accomplished. I mean, they're pretty much even. I think Brady has 6 or 7 Super Bowls.
I think he has 7. And
Jordan has 6.
Yeah,
but Jordan never lost in the championship, right?
I guess, yeah.
So I mean, that makes him more efficient. But I mean, it's a team sport. Like, it's kind of hard to quantify it and to break it down. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's just like, I don't know. When I think of the best athlete, I think of the best physical athlete as far as what they're able to do. And Brady obviously is compromised as far as like speed, quickness, agility, and like, I mean, yeah, like he's the best thrower, he's the best quarterback, but like as far as any other attribute, like no. Mm-hmm. Whereas Jordan, I mean, he's an athletic freak and he can do like everything on the floor. So there's so many ways to look at it. You can't. Mm-hmm. It's just kind of stupid to even compare that, I think.
Yeah, it depends on what your definition of success is, right, in the sport, because in a way, you could say that Jordan's the best athlete of all time because of his brand once he was done. You know what I'm saying? Like, everyone wanted to buy Jordan's shoes. He inspired the most people. Wouldn't that be the most successful athlete, the one who inspires the most? And his brand, like, people buy it, they're good shoes, but it started off and it grew into that brand because him playing basketball inspired more people than any other athlete doing anything. I don't see a Brady brand,
Yeah.
maybe he's not at that point in his life. Maybe once he retires, there'll be Brady, merchandise. I don't know. Maybe we'll see. Obviously you can't compare them quite yet, but like you said, you can't compare sports. So to me, that might be the only way to make a comparison across sports is like, how successfully did you inspire like people?
Mm-hmm.
And I think those Jordan shoes are a way to measure that in a way.
Yeah,
like you can't really disregard capitalism as like a measurement of like how successful you are, in something. And yeah, I mean, not many athletes have transcended. Like Tiger Woods probably would have created a crazy huge brand if it wasn't for his scandal. Like he was starting to do video games. Like I think the golf games were just called like Tiger, right? For a while.
I think so, yeah.
And there was a Gatorade deal, and, you know, it seemed like he had inspired people. He might be on track to inspire as many people as Jordan if it wasn't for his personal life issues. Damn, same with like Live Strong. Remember that shit? Remember, it's so weird. What is his first name? Lance Livestrong? It's Livestrong. That's
Lance
not his name.
Armstrong.
Lance Armstrong. Yeah, shit. I got it mixed up with his brand, but that brand was huge.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because he had cancer and stuff. And if he didn't get called out, that brand might have gone on to like compete with Jordan. And man, they did a Rogan episode with him, and he's just like a shell of the person he once was. Like, basically, Rogan was saying that everyone was on steroids for those events, and apparently, like according to doctors, it might be a little bit better to be on steroids because you're biking for so long, you know, and like the second place person, the third place person, the fourth place person, all the way down, I think it might have been 17th or something, is when someone wasn't actually on steroids. So, you know, a lot of people don't think that Lance Armstrong should be getting as much hate for the way he did, but at the same time, like, he doesn't get that recognition. And he just was like, you know, he wasn't about to say like, oh yeah, I deserve, you know, the recognition. He was like very like a shell of himself, being like, oh yeah, I mean, you know, people, I shouldn't have done that, you know, just being very modest. Obviously, it wouldn't have looked good if he wasn't modest, but it was like kind of a sad interview in a way, you know. If that, I don't know if you agree with what Joe said about he should still deserve his titles, but it seemed like if everyone else was doing steroids in those Tour de France events, like it doesn't seem that unethical,
right?
That the winner also was on steroids. I mean, that's just kind of how it was. I'm enjoying being on round 2 for the guests. It feels good, you know?
Round two. And
this is already so much a better episode than our first one, you know?
Yeah.
And then that one was pretty good for what it was, you know?
It was short.
Yeah. But I felt like that's what it had to be. I don't know. Yeah, I've really relaxed into the show and my role and stuff, and now I'm like, I don't want it to be forced. Like, there will be episodes that will be more forced because it'll be like someone who I'm like, oh my god, you're an expert in like that other guy, like fitness. Like, if he starts talking about music, I'm gonna be like, wait, can we talk about fitness? Because you're like a total expert in that category. You know, there will be times where I like push the conversation back towards like a more focused episode. Mm-hmm. But especially like the more that like you and Frank and Dramazos and Blake and like Charlie come back, it's like, you know, and maybe that fitness guy, if he came back a second time, you know, like those are going to get more relaxed, and like the pressure is going to be like, you know, further, like there's going to be less pressure on like, oh, we got to inspire someone, we got to say something, and more like, let's just be ourselves, you know?
Yeah. I feel like that's just the best. I mean, if you're the viewer, you would rather hear like a natural conversation as opposed to like a forced one with a certain narrative is trying to go for.
Yeah.
I mean, some people might click on a specific podcast trying to learn something out of the, you know, what they see on the title. Mm-hmm. But I feel like if you have a consistent viewer, they're more here for like the natural flowing conversation based on like who you are and what you bring.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel like, you know, I might follow someone like Joe or my other favorite podcaster is Lex Fridman. And if I don't like one of their guests, like I just don't listen to that episode and I'm still there for the next one, you know. But if I like the guests, then I'm going to want to hear more, and I'm going to hear like a more natural conversation with the guest, you know. If I'm on board, I'm on board. And that's what I like about it. It's like, I feel like we can put out this almost the full 3 hours of this. And it's like people who like you, they're on board. Like Charlie, he'll want to listen to the whole thing. Someone who's not on board, they won't listen. And that's fine. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, why would we try to cut out the good parts just in case like this person that, you know, might not listen will listen, you know? And it's like, no, it's like, let's just start to cultivate like a vibe between us, and like over time that vibe will grow. Like, like your episodes will be their own like mini series, the mini version, you know? Like there is like my favorite Joe Rogan podcast guest is Duncan Trussell. I don't know if you ever heard of him.
No.
He's just like this hippie guy, and he's just like, whoa, dude, what if like aliens had butts on their tongues? Like, he just says like dumb shit like that. Like, but I like him, and they've done like 40 episodes together probably. And so I've gone through and I've listened to all those probably, 3 hours each. That's a lot of content, but like I'm on board with them when those two guys get together. I love it, And so like people will, people that like this, particularly this one, because the first one was kind of short. I feel like people didn't even get to know you that well in the first one, but people that like the way we talk, they're going to be on board for the next one and the next one. And they're not going to want us to try to like always say something motivational. That's not what people always say. Yeah. If we do 20 episodes, there might be one where you're just like kind of sad or something or down, or like life's not always good, Yeah. And it's like those people that like listening to us might be like, well, they might want to know,
That's pretty cool. It's like a timeline where they can get an insight into what you're going through at the moment, or like what's on your mind the most at a certain time. Because, whatever that is what you'll be talking about during that podcast. So it's kind of cool to see if you like want to look back, be like, oh yeah, like around this time period, I was thinking about this, and like I had this going through my life. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's wicked, man. Yeah, it's weird. We go through these like phases and stages, and it's so weird to me how much we change and how much we also stay the same, if that makes sense. Like in a way, like we've been friends since 15.
Well, going all the way back to soccer.
Oh yeah. That I do view as different. Like we were children. I also just don't remember it as well.
Yeah.
But for me, like our true, like I didn't.
Sophomore year
I don't think I got
school.
to know. I don't think I got to know you on the soccer field. Put it that way.
Yeah, nah. Sophomore year high school is when we became like boys.
So like 15, 16, like it's like we've changed so much since then, but it's also like we're like the same.
We're like the same core. People. You know what I mean? We have the same foundation, the same like internal core, whereas we kind of branch off and go into certain directions, but we stay the same like internally.
Isn't it weird how like every cell in our body has like died off and regenerated since that day I met you?
I've thought about that too.
Like we are completely different cells. Yeah, we hold on to those memories and things, or just like that energy.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah. It's weird that they all grow back in like a similar way. Like it's weird that you represent like who you were, you still kind of look like that. Like you resonate your old self, but you're not. You're obviously the
same DNA.
26 version of Dan, not
25, not 26.
25, yeah.
26 in like 2 weeks.
Nice.
Wait, it's almost 3. Wait, 3. It's the Monday. No, I think it's 2 weeks from this Monday.
Do you have any plans for your birthday?
Nah, it's on a Monday, so.
Well, the weekend before. Are you gonna drink at that point?
Nah.
You're not gonna drink on your birthday?
Well, it's on Monday, so I'm not gonna.
No, the birthday week, like the Saturday beforehand.
Nah.
Wow, you're committed as fuck, bro.
The whole month.
I'm so impressed. Good for you. You're motivating me because like, I think I'm gonna drink on Valentine's Day just because it's Valentine's Day, but maybe I'll go on another like big break after that because, yeah, I've done a good job about the past month. I haven't really drank much, and I felt much healthier. And yeah, I want to keep that up too. But I would drink on my birthday, dude. You're a real one for that.
I mean, if it was on a Friday or Saturday, it'd be harder not to. And it would also be not February anymore, so I'd be able to. But yeah, it's all good.
And if you lived in Nova, you'd be drinking too. Like we were saying, like we don't have.
Yeah.
You might have made friends, but we don't have the type of friends who are like, you have to drink, it's your birthday. Like we don't have those friends in Florida yet.
Yeah.
I do hope to get those friends, but like I'm very much enjoying this time period of like no one has a hold on me. You know what I'm saying? No one is coming to my house on my birthday with a handle and a funnel and being like, gotcha. Like, let's drink. And you're like, okay. Like,
gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah. It seems like the older I get, the less valuable I see drinking, like the less necessary it seems. So I don't really feel bad for not, or I don't really feel like I need to.
Yeah.
Whereas if I was like 22, 21, well, that's a little different if I was 21, but like 3 years ago, I'd be like, no, like I have to.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of different now.
Like if we were 22, we'd be drinking right now.
Yeah, during the podcast.
Yeah, or even like 24 or something. But this time we're not. But I brought it up like 3 or 4 times.
Yeah.
Hopefully, when we're 28, it's just like we don't even care.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not necessarily something you grow out of. People drink a lot, but maybe like I could see like the next episode we don't even mention it. It just shouldn't. Like you're saying, it just shouldn't even be a point of discussion anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just not as important. Yeah, it's so weird how your values change and upgrade, you know?
Yeah, I just want to stay on this path, you know?
Mm-hmm.
'Cause I feel like whenever I do drink, it just kind of brings me down and kind of brings me back to ground zero where it's like, I kind of see it as like a bar graph with the x-axis being time and the y-axis being growth. It's like I'm always on a path. It's like some days are up, some days are kind of like flat, maybe one day down, up, but like it's always going up. And then if I drink, right back down to zero. And then I just have to restart. You know, that's kind of how I see it. I mean, if I have like a couple drinks and I didn't get like that drunk, I'm fine. But if I like get hammered, then I just have to reset completely. And it just, I feel like all the growth that I made in the previous weeks, it's just completely gone.
No, I feel
just like, fuck that, dude, you know?
Yeah, I think, well, watch out. Blooper alert. The light fixture just fell on Dan. What do you think about these lights, by the way?
Sick.
They're sick. Yeah, let's just talk about like the studio, man. Isn't this sick?
Yeah, bro, it's a vibe. Like,
isn't this legit?
Right when you walk in, you having all the vinyls, the lights. Mm-hmm. It's a nice table for it too. It just feels really official.
Like, obviously, it's my personal touch, so I'm like a fan of it. But not only do I think this is as professional as anybody's studio, I think it's better than anybody's studio. You know what I'm saying? Like, name a podcast that has a cooler studio than this. Like.
Joe Rogan.
Joe Rogan's. Everyone liked his old studio. Everyone hates his new studio. And
he's like in a spaceship.
he's making a studio. He's making another one. You know, but good luck making one better than this. I'm telling you, because
the vibes are in here, bro.
Yeah, like what I'm going for is like you want some sort of consistency in the studio. You know what I'm saying? But I also have the ability. It changes slightly every time depending on who my guest is because of their
based on the vinyls that they put. Yeah,
even if they don't, they're like I don't care. Put whatever up there. I change the vinyls every time a little bit. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And so I have like a 120 vinyl collection, and so like even if we start to repeat albums, like every episode will have the albums in a different order and a different, arrangement. You know what I'm saying? I could use these same 8 albums behind me for the next 10 episodes and do a slightly different, like move one here, And so between all of them, unless it's just like a weird coincidence, I should never have the same background twice. And all of my YouTube videos, if you go check them out, it's slightly like I usually do a YouTube video right here with like 6 behind me. It's never the same. It's never the same arrangement of albums ever. So
that's really cool.
Yeah, I love the studio, and then these lights they really help. You know what I'm saying?
How much were they?
They were actually a gift from Sabrina. So
oh, really? Sick.
Yeah. So I don't actually know how much they were, but I mean, I assume they weren't crazy.
Super official.
Yeah, they're just like a big bag. So it's just, I think the most expensive part would just be the light bulb itself. And then this is, just a little like, it's not actual like a metal thing. It's just like a little inflatable, like cushiony thing over it, that spreads the light out. I'm not going to try to guess a price tag on it, but it's really, they're not like studio lights or anything. They're
I mean, they serve a good purpose.
Yeah, they just serve a good purpose. Yeah, exactly.
Back in your old place, you just had the one ceiling light, right? And it wasn't like angled properly to where it was the same on both people. It was just kind of like, it didn't like look that great. But like these, it's consistent and it's official. Yeah,
it's official as fuck, dude. Yeah. I like it. Let's not talk about it too much because for the audio version, I guess these people at home are like, what the hell?
Damn, can't see it.
But I mean, it is just exciting that whether you are listening to us right now or not, like Dan is in Florida with me in person, the first person, like you're the first friend that I've had here, and I'm excited to spend the weekend with you, man. Like we jumped into this podcast as soon as you got here. So I still haven't like had fun with someone in Florida yet. Yeah. Like we'll have fun tomorrow.
Flow Rider boys.
one thing we didn't talk about, and this video happened right after we did our last episode, or like within a couple months. You did like some sort of push-up challenge I really liked. Let's talk about that challenge.
Okay. So I did 200 push-ups a day for 30 days. And I just wanted to switch it up because that was right when COVID hit and I couldn't go to a gym. My dad still had like a workout area. He had dumbbells up to 70 and a flat bench and a pull-up bar, but I just wanted to do something different to kind of shock the body and see if I could make any extra gains. So I just wanted to have a challenge where I was being consistent every day, and I did 200 a day, like I said. And I posted a video talking about the whole experience, the ups and downs. Doing that many a day is a little taxing on the body, and I had some shoulder problems like halfway through, but I overcame that and it was fine.
Wow, you Goggins it before you listened to the Goggins book.
Yeah, but it wasn't that bad. It was just like a minor tweak in my shoulder. But it wasn't that challenging because I'm already in shape. But if I wasn't, it would have been really hard. And as far as gains, like I think I gained 2 pounds, but I'm not sure if it was all muscle or if it was water weight because I didn't calculate my BMI, so I wasn't sure. But I did look a little bit thicker, like overall, like in my chest and in my back. Like I'm not sure why my back looked bigger, but I did notice like some slight gains. And yeah, it was pretty cool. Just to shock the body a little bit, do something different. Mm-hmm. And that just goes to show that you don't need a gym to stay in shape. If you just do something consistently and if you push your body every day, you can always achieve something. So I just wanted to show people that it is possible without a gym to stay in shape, and that if you set your mind to it, you can get after it and get those gains.
Yeah, boy. Get after it. I like it. Yeah, that was like in the heat of COVID too, right? When gyms were open.
That's when like the gym shut down completely.
Yeah, man. First of all, when you work out your chest, right, it actually pulls like your shoulders forward a little bit, and I think that does like make your back have the appearance of being bigger. Same thing with back, right? Back actually like will pull your shoulders back and make your chest look bigger. So they both obviously tie into each other, but appearance wise, I think the reverse, obviously like the muscle itself will get bigger for chest, but as far as like the way you stand up and your posture, the way your posture will be held, it'll make the reverse one, look bigger. Yeah. So that's why you want to hit both, obviously. But I think a testimony to just how far the podcast has come and how far we both come is like, I remember when you made that video and it was like a month or two after our last episode, I was like, that's so hype. I can't wait to talk to him. Like, that's like our next episode is going to be so good. Like, that was going to be the first question I asked you was like, let's talk about that push-up challenge. I was like, I was just excited that you were doing more things that we could talk about on the podcast.
Yeah.
I think that shows the fact that I almost forgot about it, or like we talked about at the very end, shows like how far the podcast has come as far as like what I'm trying to talk about these days. Like, I'm not trying to force you into talk about the push, like that. Even that mini segment we just talked about was probably a little more forced than other conversations. And then on top of that, I think we've both done and accomplished and done much cooler things since then too.
That's true.
It's just interesting that, if we did a podcast a month after that, we would have been talking about that push-up challenge. It would have been a more focal point of the episode, and it would have been just a bigger deal. But, you've changed to doing different challenges and activities, and we've both moved since then, and we both are just less focused on, I don't know, we just have not more ambitious goals, but more.
We've just done a lot since then, so it's kind of like under the radar,
Yeah. Or just like I don't know, like the do something different goal, I feel like it's just way more mature than the push-up goal. And not to say if you do another push-up challenge or a pull-up challenge in the future, those are immature. But you know what I'm saying? Like, I just feel like
it's kind of like my own idea kind of being brought to life, whereas that challenge was more of like a rendition of someone else doing. It's like a common thing to do it.
Yeah.
Whereas the break the cycle was my own idea and my own like drive.
Did he just say the magic word? I feel like I should have some confetti that falls out of the ceiling if you say that word. You said the word. Yeah. I feel like, to view those challenges in reverse, that's definitely an evolution of the, I'm trying to say this without bashing you in case you do more fitness challenges because I love them, but that's definitely an evolution from being like, let's do 200 push-ups a day to being like, yeah, like let's do these 7 different activities, over 7 weeks that all those activities had a personal Dan touch to them too, like if I did that same thing, I would have maybe 7 different activities, so yeah, you become more yourself. You become more, it's not like you weren't yourself last time, but you become more in tune with yourself and more expressive about that alignment.
Yeah, just starting to find a lot more clarity as far as like what path I want to go down, and like not having anyone else's expectations or opinions sway what I do. So I'm just more in line with what I want to do and doing that without considering what people might think of it.
Yeah.
Which is an evolution in of itself.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. With like the gym and everything, I've always, which I thought of that like when I was 19 years old. So it's been 7 years. I always thought of myself as like someone who knew who he was and someone who knew what he wanted to do and what he wanted out of life. But I've grown so much too since I started this podcast. It's like you don't see that growth sometimes, and this podcast
until you look back.
Yeah, this podcast has given me the ability, and now I feel like we're thinking a lot about that last episode of like the growth that's occurred there. These are mile marks. Like, I'm not the perfect person that knows what they want out of life or knows who they are, because I've grown so much since that other episode 10 months ago. I'm foolish to think I won't grow even more in the future. I just never viewed myself as someone who didn't know themselves, but like, wow, I can see how much more I've become myself now. That, that's positive in its own, but it's also like, wow, man, I got so much more growing to do, man. That's overwhelming. Like, I just feel like this conversation is fire. Like, I don't really intend to stop this podcast, right? My company could go completely under tomorrow, and I don't know, no one's going to stop me from sitting down with these mics. I enjoy it. So we got to make sure when we're 35, we're not like, damn, look how good we looked, like it's just got to get better from here or maintained, you know?
That's why you have to stick with that path though, like I just don't want to feel that way. I don't want to feel like I took steps backwards or I went in the wrong direction or I didn't keep up with myself as much as I should have. That's why whenever I get older, I want to make sure I'm the best at that age. Yeah. So when I do look back, I don't have to have that feeling,
Yeah. You told me last time you were here, you were eating 3,000 calories a day. Are you still?
I don't count, but it's probably in that range. Yeah.
Yeah. My nutritionist told me not to share my macros. She said she basically said that, then people might try to eat what I eat, so I'm not going to share my breakdown, maybe off camera, I'll tell you. But, yeah, man, I've been eating so much more protein now. Like, I did not realize how little protein I was, eating. You know what I'm saying? Before I, started working with Kayla. It's like...
Because you need to have 1 G per pound of body weight, right? That's what I was always taught. So for me, I would have to consume 170 grams of protein in order to...
That's a pretty good...
Per day.
That's a pretty good measurement. That actually is pretty close to what I'm shooting for right now. I think it depends, right? I'm getting a personal training certification too. Oh, we can talk about that if you want. But in the personal training certification, the exact formula that they gave me was 0.5 to 0.8 times or grams per body weight, And then... I'm not going to give out the number, but what Kayla told me was more than 0.8. You know what I'm saying? And so I was like, oh, that's kind of like more than I'm learning in class. And then I was listening to some podcast where he was telling his clients to eat 600 grams of protein, And that sounds just like way too much, you know? So I don't know why the NASM certification I'm getting said 0.5 to 0.8, where it seems like most people who are trying to gain, and that said that for strength training, it seems like most people take more than that, you know? And I just think maybe like as a personal trainer, you're not a nutritionist, so you're not supposed to like actually advise people too much on that stuff. So they just wanted you to know like a healthy zone maybe. But yeah, for people trying to gain muscle, I think what you just said seems pretty reasonable. Yeah. Obviously, if you work with, it's not technically a nutritionist. It's called a registered dietitian. She gets mad about that. If you work with a registered dietitian, then they would probably have a better equation than that, or like they take a lot more factors into consideration. But yeah, I think that's a decent way of doing it. Yeah. At least ballpark, right? But even just the like I wasn't even conscious of like numbers, you know, as far as like macros and nutrition before this. I would just eat something I thought had protein in it, you know, and like I would scan in like beef, you know, like I would eat like a beef taco. I'd be like, all right, here's my protein source. And like that has like way more fat in it than protein. And, you know, as I started scanning everything in, I realized that chicken was just the way to go. You know what I'm saying? And now I eat like...
It's the most lean for sure.
I eat a breast of chicken every day now, basically. Thanks for being such a trooper, man, and like doing this for so long. And part of the reason I was saying I'm glad we are doing it so long is because since you're here for the weekend, sometimes I feel like we could be like, all right, podcast is over. And then within 10 minutes, we just start talking about something like really cool, you know? And I'm like, not that I want to have lame conversations for the rest of the weekend. I'm sure we're going to talk about something, but I do want to like sponge out like, I don't know, like any cool combo that we might like just like encounter later tonight, because it's like, well, like let's just flush it out like right now, you know?
But at the same time, you can't force it. It has to happen naturally.
You can't force
it's
it.
Kind of like, yeah.
And like I said, even if we did sit here and make sure we had really good conversations, like it's not like we would just have shitty conversations tonight. Yeah. Like, you know, I don't think so. We'll be doing more active stuff at some point, but yeah, I don't know. It's for some reason now that I'm doing this, it kind of doesn't bug me, but it's like a weird thing when I'm like on like a podcast weekend with somebody and then we just start talking about something like cool as shit and I'm like, no, whoa, this would have been dope for the podcast. I don't know. I don't want the podcast to ruin like my normal conversations at all, you know. Yeah. I shouldn't have that mindset towards it, and I feel like maybe once I have like 100 episodes or something, like I won't feel like every conversation is so valuable, you know. Like, oh shit, that should have been on the podcast. You know, I'll just be more like complacent, not complacent, but like satisfied for where my podcast is, and I'm just like, if it is, it is. If it's not, it's not, you know. Yeah. But for some reason, since I'm still like on an episode like 15, 16, you know. Every time I have a valuable conversation that's like off camera, I'm like, damn, dude. Wish that was episode 18. Yeah.
Yeah, I can understand that. But, I mean, there's a lot of cool things to talk about. Obviously, it's just like certain topics only feel like they should only be spoken about and at certain times, or when you have a provoking thought. If you see something like out that provoke something, it can come out more naturally and you can have more insight on something if like some external thing influences that. Whereas if I just try to pick my brain and like come up with something like on the spot, it wouldn't be as insightful.
Yeah you can't force it, and I feel like that's the art of being a podcast host, is like, how can you get this person to talk to you without making it feel forced for them? You know what I'm saying? Like, I gotta make them feel relaxed and like they're just flowing with me, you know what I'm saying? Without being like, so like, what is your favorite color? Like certain questions, they just like force you into a moment where you're like, oh, I have to give an answer to this question now. It's like, I should be able to ask questions without them feeling like a question. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that makes sense. Just, I mean, on the basis of it being more of a natural conversation as opposed to just like an interview. So you can be kind of directing it in a certain way, just as long as it's not like interview style questions. Like right when someone gives the answer, you just go into the next question. It's more of like you feed off that answer and then ask the next one.
Yeah.
while staying on topic. So for you, that's like an actual job, and I wouldn't be able to do that. So I commend you. Like that's an actual skill, you know?
You asked me one or two questions today, which are good. I love it when my guests ask me questions, because sometimes you sit down with someone for 2 hours and they don't ask you a single question. And it's like, this isn't really an interview. It's a conversation. Like, it's almost, they go in interview mode, and like, that's fine because I understand the cameras are on and stuff. But at the same time, since it's so long, it's not really an interview. It would be kind of rude to act that way in a conversation. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, it's more appropriate to ask some questions back and be like, "Hey man, how's your life going?" You know?
Yeah.
And so one or two times you did just prompt a new conversation starter, and I always really appreciate that. You know, when a guest does that. So for anyone listening who's a future guest, man, keep that in mind. Like, if we have a podcast planned, like, pick at least one good question to ask me, and like, you know, obviously I think my audience is curious. You know, like what I think about some things, you know.
Yeah.
But it's no fun for me always just to like force it out.
That's true.
Or, you know, I don't know. A lot of times if you keep up with the podcast, you'll notice the host just starts cycling through the same thought patterns over and over again. Like, they'll say the same thing or tell the same story, you know. So even if I am putting an effort in to like put more of myself out there, I'm just one person. Over time, you know, a lot of my ideas are going to come up again. And every time a guest asks me a new question, it's like, you know, this beautiful moment where it's like, oh, I don't know. Let me think about something differently. Like, thank you for making me think about this differently, you know, then
it kind of switches the role for a second.
Yeah. It's nice. Yeah. It's really like a nice change of pace, you know? So a lot of times I'll ask questions that I kind of wouldn't mind answering. Like, I'll be like, so like, what do you work out in the gym? You know? And then you tell me, and then I'll be like, cool. And then I'll tell you what I work out in the gym. You know, like, I already have something in my mind prepared to like play, you know, it's like a tennis match, something. I'm already prepared to hit it back, you know, to you.
Yeah.
But like a good tennis match, sometimes they'll hit it on the other side of the court and I got to run over and get it. You know, when you like turn around and ask me a question that I didn't see, it's like all of a sudden you're watching like an exciting tennis match, not just two people that can lob it back and forth, you know?
That's true.
Sometimes you want it to flow. Sometimes you want it to cut.
Slice the conversation off. Slice it and dice it.
Like, have you ever seen a clown juggle a bunch of bowling balls and he drops one on his foot? Like, I don't know. Like, that was random, right? But I don't know. You gotta, like, sometimes you want to keep them on their toes. Like, that wasn't. There was definitely a better question I could have asked that would have made a little more sense in that context, but. There's this one podcaster, Whitney, I like, and she always asks the most absurd questions, you know? And that was absurd, but it wasn't like a real question. Like, she's able to flip it and like actually ask a question that's absurd. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. But it still somehow makes sense.
Have you seen the one podcast on the Joe Rogan Experience with David Cho?
Yes, I have. That one was intense, right? Did he go to like Africa and hang out with some kids and stuff? And like, really, he was like, I want to bring you guys back to America. And they're like, why would we want to go there? And they're like hunting and gathering and shit. Yeah. And it was just like, yeah, he was really like humbled by life.
I just couldn't tell how much of that was real and how much was fake. Well, he had like such crazy stories. I mean, I feel like some might have been exaggerated, but...
No, so first of all, I looked it up. He is like worth millions and millions of dollars. So he is very successful, but he had so much humility and he really was down on himself. Like, he was really like depressed and negative, and he shared some things that seemed uncomfortable to share and hard to share, you know, and it really like seemed like he was it
was more of like a therapy session during that podcast.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like sometimes
but it was really like relatable and like just like, because you could really feel his raw emotion just shining through. Yeah. And it was like really different. And like him and Joe have a pretty good relationship too, if he was able to do that. And like they were talking about a lot of past memories, but just to see someone who's that successful and that famous and that rich to have the same problems as most people is like really humbling, you know?
Yeah, he got so vulnerable, right? Yeah. And it's like, I think we are shifting towards a time where it benefits you more to be vulnerable. You know what I'm saying? Like back when Tom Cruise jumped on the couch, it was like, he's having an episode, you know? What a crazy dude. And nowadays we're so like mental health focused that it is like not bad for your career to have a little bit of an episode in front of everybody, or to like be vulnerable and honest for a second, you know, on social media or on a podcast or something. But I don't think that it was ingenuine. I think that he really was feeling
for sure.
vulnerable and feeling like sharing, and he wasn't, you know, obviously you can always be more successful, but he seemed like he was at a place in his career where he didn't need, you know, to get pity or, you know, relate to people if he didn't want to, and didn't need to share that he didn't need to share that stuff. And yeah, he was just being very real.
Yeah.
And relatable, and like in a scary kind of way too. I don't know. It was some of the insights that he had about his self were uncomfortable to hear and made you reflect in a way.
Yeah.
You know, that was kind of uncomfortable to listen. Not uncomfortable. It felt good at the same time because he was feeling them, but like you're like, wow, this guy is really he's really being self-reflective, and he's really self-examining himself at like a very like he's very self-critical. And you know, like for instance, Joe says a lot of times, I'm very self-critical on myself. You know what I'm saying? But that guy showed it. You know what I'm saying? That guy showed how self-critical he was. He didn't say he was
even cried too, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Like, near the end.
Yeah, I don't think that was fake.
No,
Dude, I actually watched the video version of that. Did you?
Same, yeah.
Okay, I was gonna say maybe that's why you thought it was fake.
No, like I'm saying some of his stories, like
just seem unrealistic.
Yeah, how
man.
He almost killed a guy, or he was on a expedition trying to find like a dinosaur bone or something, or like a fully fledged dinosaur. Forgot where he was, but he
somewhere
was
in Africa. The Congos,
probably. Yeah. And he said he almost killed the guy that he was with, and he didn't at the last second. Just like, what the hell, dude?
Do you think it's lame for me to talk on my podcast about another podcast?
Well,
is this like a cop-out conversation that we're having, you know?
I mean, not really.
Not really? I feel like it would have been lame if we started off like that. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, we're like near the very end of the podcast. So.
I feel like at this point it's fine. Like we're just talking, you know? Not that we haven't been just talking. But sometimes, like I've watched so many of those Joe Rogan episodes that they're just like flocking around my head at all times. And like there's not a second of the day where I'm like, oh, that reminds me of, you know... And, like, I feel like I have to fight that urge sometimes. Like, I'm trying to make my podcast mine. But then also I'm like, well, maybe, I mean, that's what is in my head. I should just share it. Like, you know, I shouldn't shy away from those conversations. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, it's whatever you're feeling at the moment. Whatever you feel like saying is valid. So,
yeah.
You shouldn't hold back.
Yeah.
But
I think that my method so far, and what we're doing today basically, and is held up, is like the first hour of a podcast should be all about the person, the guest, or the moment, or, you know what I'm saying, what's going on in our life, what's something tangible that like happened in my life, in your life, you know, not something we read about, you know. And then
we can relate it back to other stuff that we've seen.
Yeah, if that naturally comes up, it naturally comes up, but it's just like we related this to something else, not like this other thing was like the center of the conversation. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then like as the podcast goes on, like I get more okay with like just sitting around and talking about the book you read or the movie you saw or the other podcast episode, or, you know what I'm saying? I want every episode to be about the guests and mine, like firsthand experiences at first, so that it has a uniqueness about it. Like, there's a lot of podcasts where they just sit around, and these are usually the type that have a co-host, you know? So they always need new content to talk about, and they just talk about like whatever's trending on Twitter or something. And I hate those podcasts. Or I think some of them are funny, but they can never be my favorite podcast, because I'm like, well, you know, it's first of all, it doesn't age well. I wouldn't want to go back and listen to one of those from like 3 years ago when they're just talking about whatever's trending on Twitter. You know what I'm saying? Like, talking about real things that happened to you, I think they age very well. I think like our podcast from a year ago, it aged better than if we just pulled up Twitter and started making fun of people, or just even having serious opinions on like, you know, current events, you know?
Yeah.
but then also it's just like, yeah, like be more, I don't know, I want to be more authentic in it, I guess. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Because if you're going down that route where you're just covering whatever's hot, like whatever's trending, then that's kind of like a cop out. It's a superficial way of going about it because you're just trying to gain views and like notoriety just for like having something on your show that's like popping right now. Whereas if you have someone that has like a real story or something that's actually valuable, it's a much different experience. But I feel like the ones that you're talking about are more centered around comedy or like talking about current events but like in a comedic manner. So I don't know, just like some like satire, just kind of like shitting on things. Whereas like other podcasts have a lot more value and bring more to the table.
Yeah, I mean, the podcast I'm thinking of is called Flagrant 2. It's Andrew Schultz's podcast. Because he's the only one that's like funny enough where I still go watch it sometimes. Whereas like other podcasts in that style, I don't watch. But they are comedians, right? And so they got to be funny. That style of podcast, they have a co-host and like one or two other people in the room. So it's the comedian, but it's also the style of like, they can't talk about themselves every week or every episode because not that much changes from week to week. Where it's like Joe Rogan's a comedian, but that's not his style of podcast. He doesn't have a co-host, so he doesn't have to get caught in current events always. He gets to hone in on the guest more, which is why I started this style. Like I have Jamal as my partner. It could be me and him every single time, but I thought that would get boring. And I thought that, this allows me to mix it up more.
Switch it.
Yeah. Do you use my app?
Not for working out, but I have it downloaded. Yeah.
Why don't you use it for working out? I don't mean to be rude. First of all, if anyone doesn't use my app, like I really still want everyone to just enjoy the podcast if they don't use it. I don't want to dissuade anyone from enjoying the podcast if they don't use the app. But a lot of what I'm trying to do here is learn more and like do what I can to perfect my company and my app. So it actually brings a lot of value to me to know why you don't use it.
I was gonna ask you this weekend, but I had a hard time figuring out the homepage and like how to. So I know that there's like certain programs that you can select, but how do you just enter in like just like any workout or exercise that you do? Because like I tried to enter in a program, or I tried to make my own program, but then it went to like a default, and then I just wanted to like put in a deadlift. Did like 4 sets of 8, and I just couldn't figure out, or so I couldn't find that, and then I just tried to make my own workout, and then I wasn't sure how to do that. So yeah, I just have a few questions on like how to use the app, pretty much.
Okay. Yeah, I'll tell you and I'll show you this weekend so that you can use it better. But the goal is for someone who I don't hang out with in a weekend to like be able to pick it up and understand it,
Yeah.
So that is good feedback. That means we need to make it more.
I mean, I'm sure it's a simple like thing. I just couldn't figure it out. So
yeah, but if you can't figure it out, other people can't figure it out. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah.
this is good feedback, and this I will tell you, but it needs to be more obvious, right? And
yeah,
me and Dramaz actually recorded a podcast recently. I'll probably release it after this one, where we talked about making it more like things more accessible, things more easy to understand, and then I think one of the things we talked about is having like little instruction blips that the first time you open the app, this is how you do this.
That'd be helpful,
this. But just it's always changing. So, but the version right now, if you wanted to just pull up a deadlift and enter in a deadlift, there's like, it says exercises on the front homepage, and it has pictures, right, of like a chest and back and legs, right? You go into one of those basically exercise icons, right? And that takes you to the exercise page. And then there will be like your favorites and a search bar, So you would go to search, and you could search for deadlift, and then if you search deadlift, it would probably pull up like dumbbell deadlift, barbell deadlift, right? Smith machine deadlift. You clicked on barbell deadlift, and then if you wanted to enter in a set, you could just enter in a set right there. If you're just like, I just want to track deadlift with this app, I don't really care about tracking all my other shit. That's one way you could do it, right? But then if you wanted to create a workout program, that's not on the home screen. That's on the middle tab. And so on the middle tab, we've now put a discover page, right? Where you could just download a workout program that I've made. I've put like 5 there. But if you wanted to build your own, you would have to say like new program. It's in blue text. I don't know if you found that button. And then it would be new workout day, right? Which I think we're going to change that to be a routine soon. But you create a new day, and then so you'd have to like manually like name the program something like Dan's first program, workout day. You could name that like leg day, or something, and then pick the week, week 1, and then click on that day, and it will be like empty. And then there's a plus button in the top right, and you could start adding in exercises. Then it'll just pull up like a search bar, and you can search deadlift, add that to the exercise or to the program day, and then from once you've added like a couple of them, you can say start, and then it'll like navigate you through all of those. So the fact that it just took me a while to explain that is probably indicates that we should simplify it a little bit. But if you want to create your own program, there's no way I can completely simplify it. You know what I'm saying? You're going to have to essentially spend a little bit of time with the app, messing it around. I'm figuring out ways of making it easier so that if you make one day, you can just like duplicate it onto another day and duplicate it again. That way, if you want to make small changes to it, but yeah, I mean, you would have to put a little bit of time into creating a program. But what's cool soon is when I get this and I kind of understand that not everyone wants to put the time in, necessarily to make their own program or to track everything, even if they wanted to follow a program. Like they might just want to find a program and then see what exercise it is and then do it and not actually use the app to track information, because like that's, they don't care, or they don't want to take the time. But what I'm going to start doing soon is I'm going to get a personal training certification, and then I want to have about like 5 clients, not many, because I don't think I'm going to do this full time. I think this is going to be a side gig for me for a little bit, but like, let's say I have 5 clients, right? And then what I'm going to do is like meet with you weekly, and I'll fill everything in. So we get on a Zoom. I'm like, okay, man, like, what do you want to do? Like, we create a program, and like, now I have a certification, so I can add my knowledge. Or if someone like you, if you wanted to do train with me, you'd have a pretty good understanding of what you want, out of your program. So, and having me there, I could add to it. So then we could collaborate. Or for someone who's not you, I could just build them a program, and I would build them out a whole week's worth of a program to do, and then we're going to add ways for me to go in and add in your weight and reps like ahead of time. I think, for whatever 5 clients I have, I'm going to take away all of that initial setup of the app, and even it's going to help a lot with the way they track it in the gym. It'll be more of just them following what we set up for them together, And even I've done that with the programs I've made, but they're generic. They're for just anybody. You know what I'm saying? It's as good as I can make a generic program. I don't think that's the future of fitness or whatever. I think it's tailored workout regimens. First of all, you got to tailor it to their equipment and their facility and stuff like that, but also tailor it to what their goals are, what they want, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I mean, you probably don't need a trainer. You seem like you're in pretty good shape, but I'm also not going to charge much at all for my training at first. Like, I obviously, you're probably better shape than me, so I wouldn't want to pay me too much if I were you. But I have this grand idea of like lowering your membership fee at a gym as you level up in the game. Right now there's a game built into the app, but like, what does that mean? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not like a video game has levels and shit, but you're also not doing anything. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're just hitting buttons and you're like, yay, I leveled up. But like, when you're physically moving weight and exercising, I feel like there needs to be more tangible reward system to line up with the game. So I want to say the monthly rate's $100. every time you level up, it goes down by $1, you know? And just like any game, it gets harder over time, you know? So you might start to plateau at like $60 or something, or you can always level up, but it would be pretty hard at that point, you know?
It'll keep pushing you.
Yeah, it would keep pushing you. And so I'm going to try, like, before I just like open up a gym and like try to do that, I'm going to try to simulate that with my clients, you know, and say I charge you $50 a month or something for my training. Every time you level up, I might lower that by 50 cents, you know? And that's why I don't want this to be my main gig either, is because, like, you know, I don't want to rely on this money and then I've accidentally lowered it for people and then all of a sudden I'm not making enough money. You know, I want to start to, like, as I start to tweak this idea, you know, there might be some moments where I don't make enough money because I set up the game wrong. You know, eventually I think the game could be set up so predictably that, you know, no one's going to be able to get to level 30 without a year's worth of time at the gym or something that I'm confident enough in, you know, the way the game works. But yeah, I mean, that's going to be kind of an exciting trial to see if this monetary system actually motivates people to work out more and engage with the game, you know?
It probably will. I mean,
yeah, I hope so. And then, yeah, if it doesn't go well in my first trial, then at least I never opened up that gym. I would not be offended if you didn't want to do it, but I assume I'll mostly be working with a couple close friends and maybe someone who's a fan of the podcast who is not someone I know. But I wonder if I work with like some Charlies and Blakes and Dans and people who, you know, people who are going to be patient with me and the app and the system for a minute, you know, get like 5 of you guys together and see what happens. Yeah.
That'd be cool.
Yeah. Because not a lot of people use it right now. I think a lot of people like you got to the home screen and they're like, I don't know really what to do. And it's just like, it's not really worth putting the time into it if there's like this buffer of figuring out how to use it, you know?
If you just show me one time, it'll be like pretty easy to pick up and to remember. It's just like a matter of just knowing like the simple, you know, steps to take to input data.
Yeah. I think
it's easy.
I'll show you this weekend and I think maybe you'll use it, but I have to get it to a place where you don't need, like, I can't.
I mean, the way the home screen looks is a lot better now. It looks a lot more clean and it's, you know, because you have the main tab and then you have the two on the side. So I think it like looks better aesthetically, like the whole interface, but when you actually input the data is when it kind of gets confusing with the program versus like your own workout that you just want to input like independently. Just that. And then the leaderboard, I remember seeing that, but oh yeah, and then how to add friends too.
That was confusing.
Like, yeah, if you can search for people and add friends.
Yeah, you can do that in the top right of the home screen, I'm pretty sure. But
sure.
Yeah, if that's not clear, then we will put in some like welcome to the app type of instruction system to it.
That would help.
Because, I mean, put it this way, Mark, I'll help you this weekend and I think it'll all click for you and be clear. But like Mark Zuckerberg never sat down with me and taught me how to use Facebook. The first day I opened it up, I figured it out. Like it was obvious, you know? I wasn't like, how do I make a friend on Facebook? Like Facebook was like, here's how you make a friend, you know? Like that was I think that's their big mission, is that everyone who uses Facebook gets 5 friends, like as soon as they open the app. And I like my idea because it's not as, I like my app because it's not as dependent on having friends, you know? It's a social app, but you don't have to have, you know, friends. And so you don't have to enjoy the social features to track your workouts, you know? You don't have to enjoy the gaming part to track your workouts either, you know? But then those things are there for you, you know? So, although no one uses it yet, not many people use it yet. So maybe I need to focus. Maybe those are just distracting, or I need to like make it more obvious. I don't know.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
Do you have any advice or just like things that you would want out of a fitness app? Or
let's see. I mean, being able to count your macros and stuff like that would be helpful. But that's like an entirely that's another component that would just take a lot of work to add in there.
My Fitness Pal is already so good at that.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'd want to compete with that. That would take so many years to like get the catalog of food that they have.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But then that also takes a lot of time to input the foods that you eat, and that would just kind of take away time from the workout itself. Or I mean, you could do it after, but just to keep track of all that in the same app that you use to input the data for your workout would just be like a lot of inputting data.
Yeah.
So that would just be like overwhelming a little bit.
Yeah. A lot of these apps are like open so that you can communicate with them. Like Kayla had a trainer app that communicated with MyFitnessPal.
Oh, true.
So that she was checking on my MyFitnessPal data, but like in a more trainer friendly format. So I wonder if there's a way that we could just tap into the MyFitnessPal API and just make tracking your macros part of the Drive Fitness game, so that if you're invested into like our game and our point system, you know, you can set up like your macros, what they should be, and then you get points for every day that they're like close to that, you know, but you still use MyFitnessPal to track it all, and you still like MyFitnessPal is just so good at tracking your nutritional intake that I don't think I would want to try to combat that and be like, we can track nutrition too now. I feel like that we won't make it as good as MyFitnessPal. I'm not even gonna try.
I feel like if you just stay focused on what you're already doing, it being a gamified experience and being able to compete with your friends is like where you really separate yourself from other apps.
Yeah, I'm starting to make it a more trainer focused app. Like I said, if I'm like managing like 5 clients on there, you know, but I feel like that takes away from the leaderboard a little bit too, because it's like, how are you, like, you can't be more motivated to work out than what your trainer is prescribing. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got to do what they tell you to do. Maybe you like be like, let's step up the weight and stuff, or, you know, but when you're working with a trainer, usually you're just, you don't, that is your motivation. You know what I'm saying? So that then at that point, the leaderboard is just like a weird thing there that like no one, since everyone's following the trainer, you know, it doesn't, it's not as applicable, you know, because for a trainer, you're not going to go do more than what they prescribe you to do, because they're obviously going to push you how much you should be pushed. And then they also put emphasis on like rest days and things like that. So it would kind of mess up their system for you to go try to do more exercise on a rest day that they set up for you. That's not really listening to their training, you know? But you're more of like a podcast guy, right? You like this part of what I'm doing.
I mean, I do like the app. When I'm in the gym, like I don't like to take the time away from my workout to input the data, and I could after, but it's just that extra step that's kind of the block for me. But I mean, like, I'll still do it though.
Yeah.
It's just like,
I mean, and I understand that, and that's why I started the podcast, because like people can still support the idea by listening to the podcast without, you know, not everyone wants to be an early adapter to some software.
Yeah, man, it's got a lot of potential. So just got to get more people on it. And then, I mean, I guess what you said with having like a help tool or instructions when you first sign up would be helpful too, just so someone can get a good foundation and like understanding how to use it off the bat. But I mean, yeah, once you get people on it and once the leaderboard's full, and it'll be a lot more interactive, it'd be really cool.
Well, let's pick one more little topic that like is something you can talk more about before we close this out. What do you like, man? What do you like to talk about?
Oh, death and decay.
Death and decay?
I'm kidding. Are you satisfied with how far you've come?
Yeah, man. Like as a person?
Overall, just...
Yeah, I wasn't satisfied like a year ago. I don't know. The podcast really helped me like come to terms with things. There was this point where there was like a bug with the app, so it didn't work, and Dramazos, he had to go on like a 3-month long thing for work where he was basically flying to California every week and flying back for 3 months. So he was just too busy to do anything for the app, right?
Jesus.
And we should have figured out a way where the app was working right before he left, you know? But we had just kind of changed it so that everyone who was using the beta version wasn't using the app anymore. Like they would have to make a new account, and then we messed some things up, and then it was something simple like the login screen didn't work, but that was obviously so important. And then Blake started working on something different, and then Dramazos was just really busy for 3 months, and I was just so unsatisfied at that time. Like I was already 3 years into this process, but I was just left with like an app that didn't work, and it just made me realize that like software is not the same art as like music, like if I spent those 3 years making like an album, like as like a hip hop artist or something, then if something happened, my manager or my partner like left and like I couldn't make any more music, like at least I still had an album to look back on, And the thing about software, it's like a living thing. You have to keep up with it. You have to manage it. You have to keep updating it. And so I, for one, just felt so lost and unsatisfied. Like, wow, I just put all this time in, and, I wasn't sure if we were going to keep moving forward with the app or the project or those two guys. I knew I was going to try it again or something, but I didn't know what was going on with my team basically. And I was like, I just feel like I'm empty handed in this moment, And I actually did like start like making some music and stuff and just trying to find like another way. And the app used to be a very like expressive creative outlet for me, and then it turned into like just only business, and then it turned into like the business didn't go well. And so then it was just like, fuck, dude, like what, I don't even enjoy this anymore. Should I even do this? And then, me and Matt did pick it back up. He got off that moment and we started building the app again. But even then I'm scared as like, wow, this could all go out the window any day again. You know what I'm saying? Even if I do really well next time, I could still lose all my user base. And then if I don't pay my database fees, it gets shut down. Like what happened to Vine? You know what I'm saying? Vine's not there anymore. Like software, it won't be there unless it's successful and you keep up with it, So I was scared and I wasn't satisfied. And then I started building the podcast, right, to promote it. And just like, I don't know, just talking about what I've done so far, and like this, even in this moment right now, like as I'm talking about how hard I, worked on it, and then it didn't work out, and then it did work out, like just these moments to at least have a record of it. I don't know, for some reason, it just makes me satisfied, like instead of looking back on the app now, I look back on the podcast where I talked about the app, that because like
the journey.
Yeah. The journey, because like you don't see, like you can't go download the original version of Instagram anymore or the original version of Facebook, so they're not there, they don't exist. It's just the new version. It's just like a person, like I can't go find what the person Dan was when he was 10 years old, like it's not just art, it's like a living breathing thing, these softwares. And so now I can go back though to a year ago when me and Matt were talking about the version of the app a year ago, and that's like that's my little trophy now, or like the way I remember it, or the way I feel sad. Like even if the company fails tomorrow, I still have at least these podcasts to like, I guess, get credit for it. That sounds like I shouldn't need credit for things, but it just, I needed something that didn't change, like I needed something that was like an album that just ended after the episode's over, that captured the moment I was at, because like it could even help me in my career, like a company looking on to like if Drive Fitness just went off the app store and stuff, or even worse, doesn't work, if a company was trying to hire me, it doesn't look good for me. It doesn't look good to have an app that doesn't work, or like to talk about, like to theoretically have had an old app, doesn't help as much as to have an app, I guess. And so at least a company could find these podcast episodes or something. It just, I don't know, just you got to be building some sort of like resume or just example of what you've been doing, or it's hard to move forward in life like you were that person that came from that, I guess. I don't know. It just, so now I feel like I could just die tomorrow. Not that I want to or anything, but at least I haven't gotten to where I need to go yet. But the fact that I just keep talking about it on these podcasts makes me feel like I have a plan. I'm going somewhere. It reminds me, that I'm going, that I have a plan, And then if I die, it's like, okay, man, that guy was trying to do something cool with his life. Like, at least I'm that guy who was trying. Like, like, all we can do is try. I can't guarantee I'll succeed. Like, I'm pretty confident, but I don't know. I don't know why. Maybe I'm insecure, but I like that I have a record of what I'm trying to do.
Yeah.
And
you want to have what you're trying to do be successful and be accessible, You don't want to leave behind a product that's unusable, you know what I mean?
Yeah. And this product of the podcast is a usable product. No matter what, people could find inspiration or something from this, even if I don't do the other main thing I'm trying to do. I just like this thing complements what I'm doing, and it does make me satisfied in life. And now I drive all of my satisfaction. I drive my satisfaction from the podcast, but the podcast is for the app, so it still keeps me on track with what I'm doing. But I tend to pull my satisfaction from this now. This satisfies me way more, But luckily, I've connected them in a way where I won't lose sight of my main goal in life, I think. Yeah,
it's pretty crazy. I won't forget that one phone call when you called me like a month before you began the podcast. You were like, yo, Dan, I have a new idea. I want to run it by you first. I was like, all right, bet. And you're like, I want to start a podcast. I was like, wait, yo, that makes so much sense. Like,
yeah, it's a good idea. Man.
Yeah,
I love it. I feel like this is what I was meant to do. Maybe you know what I'm saying, or the gym was what I was meant to do. But like this comes naturally to me. This is more of like I don't know. I feel more in my element. Like when I'm coding and stuff, I'm like just thinking about the end product. Like can't wait to make the smart gym. But I'm not in my element. I'm not just like I love this for what it is.
Yeah.
I don't sit down in this podcast episode thinking about like, wow, episode 1000 is gonna be so cool when like I build this up and I can interview Elon Musk. Like no, like I'm enjoying this for what it is in the moment. Like I'm enjoying talking to Dan. Like I'm not just talking to you so that one day I have a podcast and I can talk to the strong guy like that you're about to go hang out with. Like I'm not doing it for that. Like I'm enjoying this for what it is.
Yeah.
And I'm enjoying pulling this conversation on for 3-4 hours because I don't care if anyone else listens to it. Like this is for me,
That's what it's all about.
Yeah. As long as this connects to the app, then I can keep everything in my circle of like what I'm doing in life. But like, it's, I think for people who don't see the connection between like their day job, and their other hobby and their other passions, and they all just seem separate, I feel like it's harder to derive meaning from everything you're doing,
Yeah.
And sometimes I lost that at work, and when I go back to work, I hope it all does fit into my purpose in life. But that's just my suggestion, I guess, to anybody out there who is lacking purpose in their life. It's like you need to find hobbies and things that get you excited that also tie into the things in life you want to accomplish that are harder and they're not as rewarding in the moment,
That makes sense though, because that way whatever progress you're seeing in that area of your life, it can complement other areas, and then you can just build yourself like ultimately all together. Whereas if like work is kind of fragmented from like your other hobbies, then you're kind of like even if you are leveling up in those separate areas, like if they're not benefiting each other, like there's a certain like plateau where you can't surpass that. But if they do correlate and if they do correspond, then you can reach a much higher potential. I feel like.
And that it's just coming down to something very basic now, but that's, I feel like, why neither of us are drinking as much. It doesn't fit into our big picture now.
Yeah.
And you kind of, after college, sometimes you forget, like, why am I drinking? It's like...
It just becomes habit.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, what?
Yeah, you gotta know what you're doing, and you gotta constantly be fighting, like, re-evaluating your habits and making sure they fit in, like you were saying earlier. Yeah. Yeah, this is very similar to the rant you were giving earlier. Are you satisfied in life?
Not yet.
Why? Are you satisfied with like how far you've come and like where you're at?
I'm in a happier state of mind knowing that I'm starting to figure things out as far as what direction I want to go towards, but the fact that I'm not at the end result that I want to be in a lot of areas makes me unsatisfied in the moment, but I'm also simultaneously satisfied that I'm on that path. So it's yes and no.
So you're on the path of finding your path, basically? But you're not on your path yet.
No. I'm on my path. It's just, it's a long process, and, you know, like, I don't know what the end result's going to be, but I'm just happy that I've finally found the certain direction I want to go in. But like, I mean, I've been talking about going out of the country for a few months, which is like something I haven't really planned for yet. So I don't know if that's going to happen for certain. And then as far as like my career, I don't know where that's going to end up. And, you know, I haven't learned as much about the world that I want to learn. And I haven't like been to enough places. I haven't maxed out my gains, you know, like I haven't become as confident as I want to become. So like, you know, mentally, physically, and, you know, like a lot of other areas of my life, like I'm going in the direction of like making myself better and trying to gain more experiences, but I'm not at the point where I'm just like, yeah, like I've done it all. Like mm-hmm. I'm not going to be satisfied until I feel as though I've gained like X amount of experiences and knowledge and gains mm-hmm. to actually feel like I've, you know, become someone significant.
I think it's time. You have any final thoughts, Dan? Or have I drained you from all of your... You walked in here full of ideas and I've just sucked them all out.
There's nothing left.
There's nothing of you left. I know there's one podcast where like the host leaves and he says, okay, I'm going to leave the room. You got to end the podcast with just one word or phrase only. And then that's the end of the show. And he just goes, okay, this is the end of the show. You got it.
Remember to always have drive and motivation.
And that's it. We're done. Good shit, man. Hell yeah. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Don't forget to follow Dan on YouTube, which is spelled Mota, M0TTA, and download the Drive Fitness app on the Apple app in the Google Play Store, and reach out to me if you have any user feedback. All right, have a great day, guys.